Settle down, settle down. It's going to be a long and interesting class. Long. I'm going to tell you right now. Letting you know ahead of time. All right, get some water, get some coffee, something. It's going to be long. Yeah, it's going to be a y'all something now. I'm sorry. He ain't here. I got a substitute. I'm not going to be long-winded, though. I'm going to stay in the scriptures. I'm not gonna be... All right, so y'all just bear with me. This is for you Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters out there. This is for y'all. I'm tired of doing y'all favors, man. Y'all better step it up, man. I'm getting tired of this, man. God keep coming to y'all defense. I go to that gate, it better be Judah gate. If I go be Ephraim, I ain't gonna be surprised. I ain't gonna be surprised. I'm like, oh, okay, I figured that. Simeon, all right, Simeon, all right. Long thing the heathen gate, slave gate. All praise to the Most High and His Son. I have had the pleasure, along with these brothers here, to have been this truth and applied it for above 10 years, above a decade, longer than a decade. So I'm still surprised at that. And so on that note, I've been witness to a lot of things. Time gives you experience. And what I've learned is that a lot of Israelites who know they're Israel have yet to repent. They're still in that coon mind. Be very mindful. And those of you who are online, don't take offense to this. But like I said before, over the years, I've seen this as a constant pattern of Israelites who spell their name the letter Y, the Israelites. Be very mindful of them, because a lot of them are straight demons. A lot of them. I keep seeing it all over social media. A lot of these Israelites, Yisrael, rather than the I, it's a Y. Ooh. Anyway, Yah, Busta Rhymes prophets. Yah, put your hands on my eyes to see. Anyway, a lot of them have a issue with Northern Kingdom. A lot of them. And I keep addressing it every other month. And they just keep on trying to push this doctrine of Hispanics and Native Americans are not Israelites. Hispanics and Native Americans are Asians or Mongoloids or Mamzers or Gooks or this nonsense, man. And it all comes from Edom. The doctrine comes from Edom. And I have to bring it out in more detail once again. People think that all Israel has to look like Sidney Poitier, has to resemble Shaft, has to resemble Wesley Snipes. If you don't look like them, if you don't pass the Kuhn paper bag test, the Kuhn casting system, I call it, the Kuhn cast, where if you don't match a certain shade in their mind, you ain't Israel. Meanwhile, these waffle-skinned, marshmallow-faced Negroes are saying that all Israel should be dark-skinned, and they themselves ain't even dark-skinned. That's right. It's insane. So for the marshmallow, waffle-skinned brothers out there and sisters out there who are pushing this doctrine, shame on you. The hypocrisy is evident. Today's topic is called Israel, Speckled and Unturned. That's today's topic. Israel, Speckled and Unturned. Because these are the scriptures that are being attacked. Well, primarily the one that's not, the cake not turned part is being addressed. So I'm going to address that also. We're going to open up with Genesis 38, because I ain't wasting no more time. Genesis 38, verse 1. We're going to start there.
Yeah, but that means they don't believe that we've been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth.
No, you don't.
That alone you don't even have to bring the Hosea. You know what I mean? That means they don't believe Israel being scattered.
Right. They say that the Native Americans are not brought over here, were not scattered in slave ships. The Native Americans and Hispanics are not in slave ships. But the Northern Kingdom is in Africa still. So if the Native Americans are not Israelites because they weren't in slave ships, then the Israelites over there in Africa who are still there, they didn't go in slave ships. So how are they Israel? Yeah, I know. They still over there. They didn't go on the ships. So how are they Israel? Then the same thing apply to them too? Not fitting the curse of the ships? Woo! Genesis 38, verse 1. Ric Flair moments. Genesis 38, verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 38, verse 1. And it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Abdullamite whose name was Herah. And Judah saw there was a daughter of a certain Canaanite.
Of a certain what?
Of a certain Canaanite.
This is the forefather Judah. He saw a certain Canaanite woman, Hamite, go ahead.
Whose name was Shuha. As he took her and went in unto her.
And lay with her, go ahead.
And she conceived and bare a son. And he called his name Go
ahead.
And she conceived again and bare a son. and she called his name Onan.
Both of these guys were evil as hell. Next verse.
And she yet again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Shelah.
Uh-huh.
And he was at Chezib when she bare him.
So this Canaanite woman bore children for Judah. These and Onan died, but Shelah went on to have children, and they were part of the tribe of Judah, because you are what your father is. And I do classes, I don't do them for no reason. I did a class way back called Race in the Bible, where I went into detail as to the nationality coming from the father. Comes out of the father. Does not deal with both lineage. Does not deal with the mother and father. The lineage comes from the father. Judah had a Canaanite woman, had 3 sons. Out of those 3, 2 died, 1 survived, and that one that had children became part of the lineage of Judah. When you read in Chronicles, the Shalites. All right, that's Judah. That's Shalah's children. Now let's get 39 verse 1. Next chapter.
Genesis chapter 39 and verse 1. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him in of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which he had brought him down thither.
Because Joseph's brother sold him into slavery. Go ahead.
And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man.
Uh-huh.
And he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he had did to prosper in his hand.
Uh-huh.
And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer of his house, and all that he had put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake.
Uh-huh.
And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field.
Now, Joseph's history is found on the walls of Egypt. It's common. It's found on the walls of Egypt. Joseph is written still there. He's still on the walls. It didn't desecrate that, because they forgot about Joseph and his works. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored.
Goodly person means he was a handsome brother. Goodly means he was handsome, good looking man. Go ahead. And a good person. Go ahead.
And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon
That's
Joseph.
why I mentioned how good he looked first. It mentions that his master's wife's like, damn, he look good. Looking at lusting after Joseph. Go ahead.
And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph. And she said, lie with me.
So she said, I want to lay with you. Go ahead.
But he refused.
Nah, I can't lay with you. Go ahead.
And said unto his master's wife, behold, my master wotteth not that is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
There is none greater in this house than I.
I'm over this house. Go ahead. Over your possessions. Go ahead.
Neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife.
Go ahead.
How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?
It's adultery. I can't lay with you. That's adultery. Go ahead.
And it came to pass as she spake to Joseph day by day.
Stop. So she spoke to Joseph every day. Go ahead. Saying what?
That he hearkened not unto her to lie by her or to be with her.
So she would either say lie with her, or okay, don't lay with me. Lay next to me, or lay by me. He was like, no, because he knew what that would lead to. He wasn't stupid. Go ahead.
And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there
So
within.
they were alone at this point. Go ahead.
And she caught him by his garment,
Now she thirsty. So now she grabs him now. Try to force him. Go ahead.
saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out.
Because he knew what would happen. Because this time she was real firm with it. He's like, oh, let me get out of here. He ran. He ran from it. He said, hell no, I ain't get myself in trouble. Go ahead.
And it came to pass.
And left him start and left his things in her hand. He didn't even care about her stuff. You can have it. I'm out. He ran. Go ahead.
And it came to pass when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand
He dissed her. Go ahead.
and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of her house and spake unto them, saying, see, he hath brought an Hebrew unto mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice.
He tried to rape me. Now she flips it around now. Go ahead.
And it came to pass when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried,
When I screamed, go ahead.
that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out.
I screamed and he ran away. So at that point, Joseph gets locked up because she lied on him. So he gets locked up for this false accusation, false accusation. Now let's get 41, verse 44. We're going to jump up now. Eventually he gets out of prison. He gains status. Genesis 41, verse 44.
Genesis chapter 41, verse 44. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt.
I put you second in command. You'll be the vizier, the governor. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphnath-Paneah, and gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of
Potiphar.
Potiphar, priest of On.
So he gave him the daughter of he gave him Asenath, the daughter of an Egyptian priest of On. Go ahead.
And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, the king of Egypt.
And he was what? How old?
He was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt.
Let's go to chapter 48, verse 8. So he got Asenath, the daughter of the priest of On, daughter of Potiphar.
Genesis chapter 48, verse 8.
Yep.
And Israel beheld Joseph's sons and said, who are these?
So Israel, Jacob, saw Joseph's sons and said, who are these kids? Go ahead.
And Joseph said unto his father.
Because I'm sorry, 'cause at this point, Jacob's on his way, is on his deathbed. He's dying. He's sick and old. So he asked him, who are these boys here? Go ahead.
And Joseph said unto his father, they are my sons, whom God hath given me in this place.
They are my sons whom God has given me or blessed me with in this land of his captivity, because Joseph is in captivity here. So he got blessed with children by a heathen woman in his captivity. Go ahead.
And he said, bring them, I pray thee, unto me, and I will bless them.
That's all I want. And he blessed them and made them part of the tribes. Now, let's get Exodus 2:21. So you have Judah married a Canaanite woman. Joseph married an Egyptian woman. He goes, see, so Joseph married an Egyptian woman. All Ephraim should look like that. They should be all dark-skinned like the Egyptians, like Joseph was. It should not be white, light, and pale. That's wrong. That's off. Those are mamzers. Those are heathens. Whatever. Exodus 2:21.
Exodus chapter 2 and verse 21. And Moses was content to dwell with the man.
Right, because at this point, Moses had fled from Egypt after he killed the Egyptian who was beating on his brother. He fled to the land of Midian. He fled to Midian, where he encountered a man named Jethro. Read again.
And Moses was content to dwell with the man. And he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter.
And he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter. Zipporah, his daughter. Let's get verse 22.
Verse 22.
Uh-huh.
And she bare him a son, and he called his name Gershom.
Mm-hmm.
For he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land.
Just like Joseph was, a stranger in a strange land, and bore children there. Let's get chapter 18 and verse 2. He had Gershom here. Let's see if he had any more. 18 verse 2.
Exodus chapter 18 and verse 2. Then Jethro, Moses...
When Jethro?
Oh.
When Jethro?
Then
When?
Verse 1.
Yeah.
When Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that God hath done for Moses and for Israel his people, and the Lord have brought Israel out of Egypt.
Yeah.
Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took Zipporah, Moses' wife, and he had sent her back.
After he had sent her back. Go ahead.
And her sons, of which...
And her what?
And her two sons, of which the name of the one was Gershom.
With the earlier, Gershom, go ahead.
For he said, I have been an alien in a strange land.
That means stranger. Go ahead.
And the name of the other was Eleazar.
Uh-huh.
For the God of my father said he was mine help.
Helper of God. So Gershom. So you had Gershom and Eleazar in a strange land, the same way Joseph had Ephraim and Manasseh in a strange land. Right? Now let's get Numbers. Let's see what his wife's nationality was. Numbers 12 and 1. Numbers 12 and 1. Let's see what she was. Because remember, Joseph was not around his people. His people were in Canaan. Moses is not around his people. Moses is not around his people. His people were in Egypt. So this is their excuse behind them. You can't use them as I can have a heathen woman too. No, you cannot. Your people are all over the place. We're omnipresent. Unlike Moses' time, unlike Joseph's time, where they were one was in Canaan and one was in Egypt. Numbers 12 and 1.
The book of Numbers, chapter 12, verse 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married.
My Bible has Cushite. Some of you may have the same thing. Cushite means Ethiopian. Ethiopian woman. Go ahead.
And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman.
Because it was passed down through all tradition by the forefathers not to marry Hamite women. Abraham said not to do it. Isaac said don't do it. Jacob said don't do it. And we retained some of those traditions among ourselves even up until the time of Moses. So Miriam and Aaron, well, primarily Miriam, said, why he married her for? He married a Hamite. But Moses was already away from his people for 40 years. He was gone. He was gone for 40 years. He fled at 40, came back at 80. She's mad now. He's 80 years old. But she wanted to run her mouth. So the Most High turned her from Angela Bassett to, what's her name? Meryl Streep. Or whatever. Katy Perry. For a week. All right? So now, let's get Genesis 49, verse 22. So Moses married an Ethiopian woman in a foreign land. Let's get Genesis 49 and 22.
The book of Genesis, chapter 49 and verse 22.
Now, this prophecy was regarding Ephraim, Joseph's sons. But remember, Ephraim became the head over the 9 tribes, and they split into 2. We'll get into that later. But so all the northern kingdom fall behind the example of Ephraim, because they were the top tribe. Read again.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 22. Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well.
Meaning by water. Go ahead, body of water. Go ahead.
Whose branches run over the wall.
Whose branches run over the wall. Now, my Bible has branches. It says daughters in some Bibles. It means that the children, the women primarily, were going to go outside of their nation and mingle with the other men, with the heathen men. This is something that Ephraim is prone to doing, especially the sisters. Ephraimite women are known to mess around with heathen men. George Zimmerman's mom, Northern Kingdom. Shakira's mom, Northern Kingdom. Salma Hayek's mom, Northern Kingdom. You find numerous accounts of Northern Kingdom women marrying heathen men all the time. Now, does Judah do it? Yes, but they were more so loyal to theirs than Ephraim was. All right? And Ephraim men are also known to do it. I'm going to deal with them in that scripture. I'm going to deal with them scripturally. But you had numerous present instances where you have Ephraimite women messing around with heathen men all the time. Let's get 2 Samuel 5. Yep, 5 verse 10.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 5 and verse 10. And David went on and grew great, and the Lord God of hosts was with him.
Go ahead.
And Hiram, king of Tyre,
Hiram, king of Tyre, go ahead,
sent messengers to David, and cedar trees, and carpenters, and masons, and they built David an house.
So Hiram liked David. He loved David. He was a fan of David because he heard of David's heroic battles and so forth, and he heard of David's becoming great and mighty, a mighty warrior. So Hiram liked David. Now, Hiram was the king of Tyre. The Tyre are the Canaanites, so Sidonians. Tyre is a city of the Sidonians. Sidonians are Canaanites. So he's the king of the Canaanites, or Tyrians, or Tyrus. You understand? Tyre, Tyrus, Sidon is all one thing. It's all one the same. Tyrians, Sidonians, Canaanites is all one. This guy, Hiram, was a king of Tyrians or the Sidonians. Let's get 1 Kings 5 and 1. Let's see what he was. And he bought David materials and built David a house in respect of, in honor of him. 1 Kings 5, verse 1.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 5 and verse 1. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servants unto Solomon.
So now he sent his servants. He lived for a long time. He lived from David's death all the way into Solomon. All right? And he helped Solomon as well. Go ahead.
For he had heard that they anointed him king in the room of his father.
Watch this.
For Hiram was ever a lover of David.
He loved David. Go ahead.
And Solomon sent to Hiram, saying, Thou knowest how that David my father could not build an house unto the name of the Lord his God.
He couldn't build a temple. Go ahead.
For the wars which were about him on every side.
Because he spent too much blood. The Lord said, you can't build no temple, David. You killed too many people. Let your son do it. Go ahead.
Until the Lord put them under the soles of his feet, But now the Lord my God hath given me rest on every side, so that there is neither adversary nor evil occurrent.
Uh-huh.
And behold, I purpose to build an house unto the name of the Lord my God, as the Lord spake unto David my father, saying, Thy son, whom I will set upon thy throne in thy room, he shall build an house unto my name.
Uh-huh.
Now therefore command thou that they hew me cedar trees out of Lebanon, and my servants shall be with thy servants.
We work together. Go ahead.
And unto thee will I give hire for thy servants, according to all that thou shalt appoint. For thou knowest that there is not among us any that can skill to hew timber like unto the Sidonians.
Unto who?
Like unto the Sidonians.
Because Tyre was a city of the Sidonians. That's why he's saying that you guys are the best builders. So he utilized these heathen. The heathen had skills. I'm gonna use them. And so since you're a friend of my father, I'm gonna utilize you. You work together to build this temple. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And it came to pass when Hiram heard the words of Solomon that he rejoiced greatly and said, Blessed be the Lord this day, which hath given unto David a wise son over this great people.
Right. Let's get chapter 7, verse 13. Chapter 7, verse 13. And we're going to read the verse 14. 1 Kings 7, verse 13.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 7, and verse 13. And King Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre.
Uh-huh.
He was a widow's son.
Because people refer to him as Hiram Abith, meaning Hiram the widow's son. A lot of so-called Illuminati or Masons worship him because he was a master builder. They call him Hiram Abith, or Hiram, the son of a widow, widow's son. Okay, he's like a high deified figure in Masonry or whatever. Tubal-Cain and this guy, Tubal-Cain and Hiram are highly renowned among Masons, so whatever. Go ahead.
And King Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre.
Uh-huh.
He was a widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali.
What was he?
He was a widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali.
Uh-huh.
And his father was a man of Tyre,
A Canaanite.
a worker in brass. And he was filled with wisdom and understanding, and cunning to work all works in brass. And he came to King Solomon and wrought all his works.
So his mother was Northern Kingdom. So I'm showing you that Ephraim had a habit of mingling with the nations they were not supposed to mingle with, especially the sisters. They were not supposed to do that. His mother was Naphtali, but he was a Sidonian. He was a Canaanite. You understand so far? All right. Let's go to 1 Kings 11. Now, I'm not leaving Judah out. We just as bad. 1 Kings 11, but Ephraim more so into that. 1 Kings 11 and verse 1.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
But King Solomon loved many strange women.
King Solomon, Judite, loved many heathen women. Go ahead.
Together with the daughter of Pharaoh.
And the Egyptian woman. Go ahead.
Women of the Moabites.
He loved Chinese.
Ammonites.
He loved Japanese.
Edomites.
He loved Edomite women. Right women. Go ahead.
Zidonians.
Hamites.
And Hittites.
He loved more Hamites. Go ahead.
Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them.
Do not lay with these nations. He did it anyway. But the Lord said, listen, during Solomon's time, I promised David during his son's time, I'll give him peace. But after a while, I'm going to take that peace away from him because he's being evil as hell by doing this. Go ahead.
Neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love.
The Lord is saying, when you make these other nations and you lay with them, it is inevitable that they're going to destroy you. You cannot be married to the other nations. It says surely, not maybe, sometimes. It says surely they will turn you to serve their gods. It's inevitable. Go ahead. And that's what happened to Solomon. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And he had 700 wives.
So 700, he had 700 Israelite wives. His own people, 700 of them. Go ahead.
He had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines.
300 heathen wives. How much is that? 1,000. Keep that number in mind. 1,000 women. Solomon had 1,000 women all day. I don't understand how he had time to do anything. This lust is crazy. Ecclesiastes 7 and 25. Watch this. Because the doctrine is that when Song of Solomon was written by his woman, when it says, I am black, it's not Solomon saying he's black, it's his woman saying that she's black. What? Watch.
Hey, Deacon,
Yeah.
Deacon, so if you had 1,000 wives, that means he probably saw one wife every 3 years.
I don't know what he did. Solomon had powers. I don't know what he did to maintain that joy. I don't know. I don't understand it. Had all kind of herbs. This is keeping this all day. All day like this.
Yeah, but at least Solomon was a king. You got Negroes today that work at McDonald's on like got 2-3 wives. That's what's wrong with that.
Packing bags at Walmart. I got 8 wives, brother. Yeah, okay. Packing bags. Ecclesiastes 7 and 25.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 25. I applied mine heart to know and to search and to seek out wisdom.
Solomon had 2 vices. He wanted to know, like some of y'all in here, he wanted to know everything. The Lord gave Solomon wisdom beyond any other man. But Solomon said, that's not good enough. I want to know everything. And I mean, I want to know everything. Watch this. Go ahead. Ecclesiastes is a book of regret. I'm going to say it again. Ecclesiastes is a book of warning and regret. Like, you know that old hustler, that dude that was a hustler? He said, oh, man, I used to do that, man. Don't do that. That's not good. I've been through it. I've been locked up. I've been shot. I've been so-and-so. Don't do that. Ecclesiastes is the same exact thing. I've done this. I've done that. I've done so-and-so. Don't do what I did. It's not worth it. Vanity is vanity. You read Ecclesiastes, he says vanity is vanity. Vanity is vanity because he did everything that he was and was not supposed to do because he was wealthy, powerful, rich, wise, and he had idle time like celebrities do today. They do dumb stuff. I'm bored. Let me sip some Coke. Why? I don't know what's there. Woo! Why'd I do that? I don't know. I'm going to do it again. This is how celebrities are. And Solomon did the same exact thing. Solomon would just do dumb things because he had the power to do it. Whatever he wanted, he got. Without question, the Lord sat by. Oh, this guy is getting simple. But we don't. Y'all say something louder?
Yeah, but with all that wisdom, he also had a dumb spirit working with him.
Yeah, he did. He did. Read that. He had a fault. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes 7, verse 25. I applied mine heart to know and to search and to seek out wisdom and the reason of things.
Why things happen, why things are done.
And to know the wickedness of folly.
I want to know why people sin. In order to know that, I got to indulge in it. I have to involve myself in it. Go ahead.
Even of foolishness and madness.
Dumb things. I want to learn these things. Why do people sin? Why do they sin? Why do they serve this God? Why do they serve that God? For what purpose? Let me find out. Let me do it. Let me involve myself in it. Go ahead.
And I find more bitter than death the woman.
Because these women introduced him to that folly and that madness that he wants to seek out. Go ahead.
Whose heart is snares and nets. And her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her. But the sinner shall be taken by her.
Himself. Next verse.
Behold, this have I found.
So while researching, I realized this. This have I found. Go ahead.
Saith the preacher. Counting one by one.
I counted each one. Go ahead.
To find out the account.
To figure out which ones please God. Watch this.
Which yet my soul seeketh. But I find not.
I can't find them. Go ahead. Watch this.
One man among 1,000 have I found.
One man among 1,000 have I found. The only one that have wisdom among them is myself. All the 1,000 women he had were idiots. All 1,000 were stupid. So how did they write Song of Solomon? Being stupid. Read again, please.
Behold, this have I found, saith the preacher, counting one by one.
He counted each one to see which one had wisdom. Go ahead.
To find the account.
Of wisdom. Go ahead.
Which yet my soul seeketh.
Which I'm still looking for. Go ahead.
But I find not.
I still can't find it. Go ahead.
One man among 1,000 have I found.
Myself among these 1,000 women. Go ahead.
But a woman among all those have I not found.
Because they were stupid. So how'd they write Song of Solomon? How'd they write it? Which wife wrote it? They were simple. He's saying they're simple as hell. Let's get Song of Solomon 1 and 1.
Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 1.
Watch this. Watch.
The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's.
Read again.
The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's.
Solomon's wife.
The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's.
Solomon's wives.
The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's.
Verse 1 makes it very clear whose song it is. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. 1 Kings 4 and 31. Let's see who wrote the songs. Was it his dumb women? Not any offense to women in here, but Solomon's vice was wisdom and women. He didn't care if they were smart or dumb. He didn't care. And when you marry heathen nations, you gain relations with the other nations. Because back then, kings would seal alliances by marrying their daughters to each other or marrying sons to each other. That's what they would do. Marry sons with their daughters and vice versa to seal alliances. He had an alliance with Pharaoh, so he took Pharaoh's daughter. You understand? This is what they would do back then. 1 Kings 4.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 4 and verse 31. For he was wiser than all men. Then Ethan the Ezrathite, and
Ezrathite, go ahead.
And Heman the Chalco, and Darda, the sons of Mahal.
These are all wise men. Ethan of Ezrathite, Heman, Chalcol, Darda, go ahead.
Sons of Mahal, and his fame was in all nations round about.
Because heathens would come to speak to him, because he was so wise. Heathens would come from far and wide. The Queen of Sheba came. All heathens would come from far and wide to hear his wisdom. Go ahead and bring it back to their own. Go ahead.
And he spake 3,000 proverbs.
Now we have 31 of those. 31. He spoke 3. So how many he spoke?
And he spake 3,000 proverbs.
He spoke 3,000 proverbs. Go ahead.
And his songs were 1,005.
And his songs were 1,005. His songs were 8,000. Not his wives' songs. His own songs were 1,005. Let's get Ecclesiasticus 47. Ecclesiasticus 47 and verse 13.
The book of Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 47 and verse 13. Solomon reigned in a peaceable time.
Right, because the Lord promised David that Solomon was going to reign in a peaceable time to build the temple. Go ahead.
And was honored, for God made all quiet round about him, that he might build an house in his name and prepare his sanctuary forever.
Go ahead.
How wise was thou in thy youth?
When he was young, he was very wise. He asked the right things. Go ahead.
And as a flood filled with understanding.
Go ahead.
Thy soul covered the whole earth.
Meaning his understanding was all nations came to him to learn from him and brought it back to themselves. So a lot of these wise philosophers and scholars of old, a lot of them learned from Solomon. A lot of them learned from him. They just took it back to their nations. Go ahead.
Thy soul covered the whole earth, and thou fillest it with dark parables.
Go ahead.
Thy name went far unto the islands, and for thy peace thou wast beloved.
Go ahead.
The countries marveled at thee, for thy songs. And
read again.
The countries marveled at thee, for thy songs.
For thy what?
For thy songs.
For your songs. Go ahead.
And proverbs.
Your proverbs.
And parables. And interpretation.
That's wisdom of Solomon. His parables and interpretations is wisdom of Solomon. Go ahead.
By the name of the Lord God, which is called the Lord God of Israel, thou didst gather gold as tin, and didst multiply silver as lead.
Extremely, extremely wealthy. Go ahead.
Thou didst bow thy loins unto women.
Here's his fault. Read again.
Thou didst bow thy loins unto women.
When it came to women, he was weak. He didst bow his loins unto women. That was his weakness, his vice. Go ahead.
Hold on. When you say bow his loins to woman, what does that mean? Is that term we use today? That thing get a mind of its own. You understand? You know, he said some people, they don't think with their head, they think with their loins. Well, that's what Solomon used to do. He was thinking with his little man. He wasn't thinking with the man up here. Yeah, that's what it's saying there. You understand? Read that again.
Thou didst bow thy loins unto women.
He made the little man down there control him. You know, that's how Solomon was. Same way how some of you brothers is. You all don't let this control you. The little man down there control you, control your actions.
Go ahead.
And by thy body thou wast brought into subjection.
Under your woman. That's what happened. And he's shaking. Go ahead, read next verse.
Thou didst stain thine honor.
See the end result of it? Go ahead.
Thou didst stain thine honor and pollute thy seed.
Because he was a king. He went into paganism. All Israel started going off and followed behind him. He started putting heavy burdens on the people. Go ahead.
So that thou broughtest wrath upon thy children and was grieved for thy folly.
And he was. Now, that's all I want. Let's get 1 Kings 14:21.
Hold on, Deacon Nathan. Can you read that again? Okay. Hold on.
Verse 20. Sirach chapter 47, verse 20. Thou didst stain thine honor and pollute thy seed, so that thou broughtest wrath upon thy children and was grieved for thy folly.
Because Solomon failed to understand that wisdom was given to them was to feed his people.
Yep.
You understand that he was so selfish. That's why he married the other people. That now, because of his failure, that Israel was divided into two. Yep. You understand? That's why you guys don't understand. I mean, wisdom is given to you for you to feed your people. Not for yourself, but Solomon get it messed up. When he was just thinking, like Deacon Malachi said, he was just thinking about his rod instead of thinking about these people. You understand? That's why the kingdom was divided into. The brother was a selfish. With all this wisdom he had, he was a selfish man. He didn't care about these people.
Mm-hmm. He got old and simple. It says he got old and simple. When he was young, he had his wits about him. He got old, he got simple. Found behind the penis.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 14, verse 21. And Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, reigned in Judah. Rehoboam was 41 years old when he began to reign.
And he was simple as hell, Rehoboam. They called him the folly of Israel. When you read Sirach 47 further down, he's the folly of Israel. Go ahead.
And he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem, the city which the Lord did choose out of all the tribes of Israel to put his name there.
Watch this.
And his mother's name was Naaman.
Go ahead.
And Amoritis.
And a what?
And Ammonitis.
And Ammonitis. So his mother was an Ammonitis. But he was still the tribe of Judah. But his mom was a heathen. Proving again your lineage comes from your father. Once again. I can't stress it enough. Jeremiah 50 now, verse 17. Now we're going to jump ahead now because, like Laba mentioned earlier, his foolishness, not losing the kingdom, but he died, left behind a foolish son, caused the kingdom to split. Jeremiah 50, verse 17.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 17. Israel is a scattered sheep.
Israel's what?
Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria hath devoured him.
Northern kingdom. The 9, go ahead.
And last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, hath broken his bones.
He conquered Judah. Go ahead.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land as I have punished the king of Assyria.
They did us real bad. When he was in Babylon and Assyria, it was bad. I'm going to show y'all that the treatment of our people was very vicious among these people in Babylon. We always talk about Esau, and Arabs also, but Assyria was the worst. Worst. 2 Kings 17:5.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 17 and verse 5. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away unto Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes.
Read 5 and 6 again, please.
Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land.
This king will be Shalmaneser the 5th. Now, prior to Shalmaneser, when the Assyrians took Israel or Northern Kingdom over, they didn't do it all at once. They would come in swoops. They would take some here, come back, take some, come back, take some. So Tiglath-Pileser, Shalmaneser's father or grandfather, he took the first wave. Then Shalmaneser the 5th came, and that was it. It was a wrap. He took the majority wave. Shalmaneser the 5th. And you read verse 3, that's who it was. Shalmaneser, king of Assyria the 5th. Read verse 5 again.
Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years.
Now he took Judah also, because remember you had Judah and Ephraim living in land together. Sure, it didn't go, oh, which one are you? They took all of them. So you had Judah amongst them also, not Judah, but the southern kingdom also, remnants of them taken as well, up to Assyria. Go ahead.
Went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years.
Uh-huh.
In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria, took Samaria.
Samaria was the capital of the northern kingdom. This is the northern kingdom's capital. When the 12 tribes split into 2 kingdoms, they split into 2. Judah was over 1 kingdom, the southern, the bottom. Ephraim was the northern kingdom up top. Judea was our capital. Jerusalem's our capital. Samaria was Ephraim's capital. You understand? Samaria is Ephraim's capital, the 9. Judea or Jerusalem is Judah's capital. Go ahead.
In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria.
Into what is now known as modern-day Kurdistan. Go ahead.
And placed them in Halah.
Place this in where?
In Halah.
Halah. Go ahead. Keep this word in mind. Halah.
And in Habor.
Habor. Go ahead.
By the river of Gozan.
Keep that in mind. Go ahead.
And in the cities of the Medes.
Cities of who?
Of the Medes.
What now? Don't call out. What group of people, which son of Noah do the Medes come from? Raise your hand. Who knows? Which son of Noah do the Medes come out of? Which son? Right here. No. Oh, at the end. Brother, stand up.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Japhet.
Thank you. Medes in Genesis 10 is Magi. M-A-D-A-I. So they put Ephraim into the cities of the Medes, which would be upper Iran, northern Iran. You understand? That's where the Medes dwell. They resided in there. They mingled with Elam. That's why you had the Medo-Persian Empire. That's Iran. You had Medes up top, and you had Elam right there in the middle. And they were intermingled. Medo-Persian Empire. You understand? And that's where Ephraim was placed. Let's go to 2 Chronicles 30, verse 1. 2 Chronicles 30, verse 1. Keep that in mind. Halah, Habor, the river of Gozan, city of the Medes. Keep that in mind. We're going to revisit that later on.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 30 and verse 1. And Hezekiah sent to all Israel and Judah and wrote letters also to Ephraim and Manasseh that they should come to the house of the Lord at Jerusalem to keep the Passover unto the Lord God of Israel.
Because you have remnants of Ephraim, of northern kingdom, period, that the Assyrian king Shalmaneser had not taken. He took the majority. Remember, he took them in waves. Tiglath-Pileser or Pul took the first wave. Shalmaneser took the second largest wave, but there was some left, stragglers left. Then Hezekiah wrote to them saying, listen, come keep the Passover. Y'all already jacked up. You might as well come serve the Lord. Look at you. Read again.
And Hezekiah sent to all Israel and Judah and wrote letters also to Ephraim and Manasseh that they should come to the house of the Lord at Jerusalem to keep the Passover unto the Lord God of Israel.
Hezekiah was a righteous king, so righteous that the Most High extended his life 15 extra years. That's how righteous. The Most High gave him 15 more years of life. That's how righteous he was. Next verse.
Verse 2. For the king had taken counsel and his princes and all the congregation in Jerusalem to keep the Passover in the 2nd month. For they could not keep it at that time.
The first time. Go ahead.
Because the priests had not sanctified themselves sufficiently, neither had the people gathered themselves together to Jerusalem.
There's a law that tells you that if you miss the first Passover, you can keep it a second time. The second time. So at this point, Levi, y'all dropped the ball on that one. Y'all ain't wash yourselves enough, so you had to postpone Passover 1 month for the next month.
Make it clear it's not watch your body, man. You just, that was not
Yeah,
clear.
they watched,
Their mind was not clear. Their mind was not clear.
They didn't anoint themselves properly for the office. They didn't anoint themselves properly. That's what I mean by why not bathe. I know what you mean, Lava. Go ahead.
Verse 4.
They were stinking. Y'all stink. I ain't keeping Passover this month. No, I'm just joking. Go ahead.
And the thing pleased the king and all the congregation. So they established a decree to make proclamation throughout all Israel, from Beersheba even to Dan.
That's where Ephraim was. Go ahead.
That they should come to keep the Passover unto the Lord God of Israel at Jerusalem, For they had not done it of a long time, in such sort as it is written.
Go ahead.
So the post went out with the letters from the king and his princes throughout all Israel and Judah.
Post means mailmen. We had mailmen. You know, go out and give out the mail. Listen, delivery from the king, come keep Passover. Go ahead.
And according to the commandment of the king, saying, Ye children of Israel, turn again unto the Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, and he will return to the remnant of you
The remnant of you, go ahead.
that are escaped out of the hand of the kings of Assyria.
So some northern kingdoms managed to avoid Assyrian captivity. Some of them. Very, very few, but the majority of Samaria was gone. It was desolate. But you had stragglers left that managed to hide, avoid it. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And be not like ye, and be not ye like your fathers, and like your brethren, which trespass against the Lord God of their fathers, who therefore gave them up to desolation, as ye see.
And you were taken captive. So you had remnants of Ephraim left. Many of these remnants fled into, either resided in this area here, or a lot of them fled into Africa. A lot of them fled to Africa, what you know of as the Yoruba. A lot of them are Yoruba and fled into those areas. In a lot of southern areas, you have Gabon, the West Coast. That's Ephraim's over there too. Took a lot of so-called Mexicans and brought them over there. A lot of them. That's another class.
You know, like when you pay attention to their history right there, that's showing you the power of God, man. Judah king did not help his brother because there was an order coming from God. Listen, these people going into captivity, you cannot help them. Think about it, how mighty God have to be. That means your own people, God said, don't help them. God is not an emotion king. You understand? We are emotion king. You understand? God don't have no emotion in him. You understand? But that's why we as a people have to understand these things, man. God can take one of you out of this crowd that is wicked. Then the rest, he protect all of it. You understand? So you cannot play with a God like that.
Go to jewishvirtuallibrary.org, the Assyrians. I sent you a link on the history of the Assyrians. We're going to start from where it says, the Assyrian conquerors invented. And read that. Who wants to read it?
The Assyrian conquerors invented a new policy toward the conquered.
Stop. So the Assyrian conquerors invented a new policy towards the conquered. Watch this.
In order to prevent nationalist revolts.
Stop. In order to prevent nationalist revolts, meaning all races, a race coming together to fight against them, to abate or to stop or prevent nationalist revolts. Go ahead.
By the conquered people.
By those whom they conquered. Go ahead.
The Assyrians would force the people they conquered to migrate in large numbers to other areas of the empire.
They forced them, a forced migration in large numbers. You have a thing called the Trail of Tears that Esau did to the Northern Kingdom. From Florida all the way to Oklahoma. And you have blacks among them. And that's how Black Wall Street began. Continue.
Besides guaranteeing the security of an empire built off of conquered people of different cultures and languages.
Doesn't that sound so familiar? Besides guaranteeing the security of an empire built off of conquered people of different cultures and languages. Go ahead.
These mass deportations of the populations in the Middle East, Mesopotamia, and Armenia turned the region into a melting pot of diverse cultures.
Wow! Turned the region into a melting pot of diverse cultures, religions, and languages. Doesn't that sound so familiar? Sounds so present.
Yeah, I mean, then you notice that thing smell like America.
Yeah, it does. It smells very Americanish smell. Go ahead.
Whereas there would be little cultural contact between the conquered and the conquerors in early Mesopotamian
Because everybody's
history.
all mingled around. They don't have time to overthrow Assyria because they're all mingled together. Coming together as one. Go ahead.
Under the Assyrians, the entire area became a vast experiment in cultural mixing.
Read it again.
Under the Assyrians, the entire area became a vast experiment in cultural mixing.
Became a vast experiment of cultural mixing. I said it to y'all before, I'll say it again. America is an amalgamated kingdom. America took all the pros and cons of every kingdom before it and merged it into itself. We're literally reliving every captivity from Assyria From Egypt to Assyria until Rome until now. That's why it's the worst captivity of all time. It's the worst because it's all of them in one.
Yeah, you remember the scripture said there's a darkness, like a
dark,
pale
right.
dark place.
Gross darkness, it says. Read it again. I like that word. It says experiment. Read that part again.
Under the Assyrians, the entire area became a vast experiment in cultural mixing. It was the Assyrian monarch Sargon II.
He's in Isaiah. Go ahead.
From 721 to 705 BC.
He's in Isaiah 20. Go ahead.
Who first forcefully relocated Hebrews after the conquest of Israel. The northern kingdom of the Hebrews, although this was comparatively mild deportation and perfectly in line with the Assyrian practice.
He took some also. After Tiglath-Pileser took some, after Shalmaneser took some, he went and took some also, but not as many as those two did. Go ahead.
It marks the historical beginning of the Jewish diaspora.
It marks the historical beginning of our scattering. Ephraim was scattered first. Go ahead.
This chapter in the Jewish diaspora, however, never has been really written. For the Hebrews deported from Israel seem to have blended in with Assyrian society.
What did they do? What Northern Kingdom do?
Blended in with Assyrian society.
They began to blend in with all the Assyrian society. What society? You had different nations among them. They mixed around with the Medes. They mixed around with the Mesopotamians, with the Armenians. They all died. Remember, Ephraim mingled themselves all the time, especially women, the men also. Go ahead.
Hold on. You know, like, that's why you have America today when our people so destroyed, they say, my country. What you think Ephraim was saying over there? My country. My country. Same thing we said today.
Go ahead.
By the time Nebuchadnezzar II conquers Judah in 587 BC.
Jeremiah 50, verse 17 and 18. Go ahead. You conquer us later. Go ahead.
The southern kingdom of the Hebrews, the Israelites, deported by Sargon II,
Northern kingdom, go ahead,
have disappeared nameless and faceless into the sands of northern Mesopotamia.
They became unknown, lost. No one knows who they are anymore. We know who they are now, don't we? They're on this side of the world. Now, that's all I wanted.
Oh, that's why when you all read the book of Jonah, right? A lot of people confuse. They say, especially Christians, they say that Jonah went to the people in Nineveh and told them to repent. All right? So, but when you examine what we just read right there, you understand that the people in Nineveh was who? Israel. It was Israel. That's who the people in Nineveh was. There was no heathen. It was Israel that was intermingled amongst the people there. That's who Jonah, the Most High God sent Jonah to tell to repent. That's the people that was fasting and was repenting for their sins. It wasn't the heathens. All right, so you brothers, you all learned something heavy today.
20 and 1, right? I was right. Where's he at?
Hey,
There you go. Tartan, his general, and Sargon, the king of Assyria, sent him. Right. Tartan was a general. Sargon is in Isaiah 20, verse 1. I said it earlier. I was right. Isaiah 20. Is it something? All right, let's go to, and I make reference to, you had men like, as I was saying earlier, how Ephraim mixed themselves. You had Zimri, who Phineas stabbed. He took the Midianite woman. The plague took place during Moses' time. You had Zimri, the prince of Simeonites. Phineas stabbed through him and her. You had Samson, the Danite. That was his fault also, him. Let's get real quick. Leviticus 24. I left this out. Leviticus 24, verse 10. I forgot this.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 24 and verse 10. And the son of an Israelitish woman whose father was an Egyptian.
Whose father was a what?
Was an Egyptian.
Telling you. Go ahead.
Went out among the children of Israel. And this son of the Israelitish woman and the man of Israel strove together in the camp.
So you had a heathen child and an Israelite child fighting in the camp. Because remember, when Israel came out of Egypt, you had Israel come out from different lifestyles. Some had heathen children, some didn't. And so we had him among us. And he started to fight with the children because he wasn't us. They're not our people. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And the Israelitish woman's son blasphemed the name of the Lord and cursed. And they brought him unto Moses. And his mother's name was Shelomith. the daughter of Dibri of the tribe of Dan.
So she was a Danite, just like Samson was. Go ahead.
And they put him in ward,
Locked them up, put them in ward. Locked them up. Go ahead.
that the mind of the Lord might be showed them.
What to do with him. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Bring forth him that hath cursed without the camp, and let all that heard him lay their hands upon his head, and let all the congregation stone him.
Kill him. Go ahead.
And thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, saying, Whoever curseth God shall
Whoever
bear
curseth his God, go ahead.
whoever curseth his God shall bear his sin.
You'll die. Go ahead.
And he that blasphemeth the name of the Lord, he shall surely be put to death. And all the congregation certainly stone him.
Shall certainly stone him.
And all the congregation shall certainly stone him.
Watch this.
As well the stranger.
As well the stranger, because that's what he was. As not only Israelites get put to death, the strangers among you get put to death also for cursing me. Go ahead.
As he that is born in the land.
They get the same treatment. Go ahead.
When he blasphemeth the name of the Lord, shall be put to death.
See, so that Danite woman had an Egyptian child. Ephraim was known to do this. Let's get, jumping back down now. Let's go to Ezekiel 20, verse 31. Lava mentioned earlier how through cultural mixing and melting pot and assimilation, we start to say, oh, my people or my country. Same thing. We're gonna read that right now. Ezekiel 20 and verse 31.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 20 and verse 31. When ye offer your gifts, when ye make your sons to pass through the fire, ye pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day. And shall I be inquired of by you, O house of Israel? As I live, saith the Lord God, I will not be inquired of by you. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all that ye say.
What do we say in our mind?
We will be as the heathen.
I'm going to be like the white man. I'm going to be as the Arab man. I'm going to be as the Chinese man, as the Japanese man. I'm going to be as the white woman, as the white man. I'm going to be just like them. Bleach my skin, dye my hair, blonde my hair, perm my hair. I'm going to do what it takes to be as white as I possibly can, including marry them. Intermarry. Because if you think you're a heathen, who you going to marry? Heathens. You think you're them. Go ahead.
And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all as that ye say. We will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone. As I live, saith
that's all I want. So let's get BibleHistory.com. BibleHistory.com. More on Assyria again. The next link I sent you, BibleHistory.com. Should be Archaeology of Ancient Assyria. We're going to start where it says Ancient Assyrian. Right there. Read that.
Ancient Assyrian policy was to deport defeated nations and lead them captive to other lands. This would destroy their sense of nationalism.
What would it do?
This would destroy their sense of nationalism.
This would cause them to forget who they are, to lose care for their people, destroy their sense of nationalism. Meaning, like they say, it doesn't matter what your nationality is. We're all children of God. That's the same exact thing. We're all God's children. We're all the children of God. Lose all sense of nationalism. You will rise above your people. You're Oprah now. You're Medea now. Tyler Perry now. You will rise above the status of your people. You lose all sense of nationalism.
Because the nation know who they are. When you listen to Jake on the TV, man, on the news, we all Americans.
Yep.
Where they get that from? Because they believe that nonsense. You're not Americans. You were brought up here in cargo slave ship because of breaking God's commandments. How the hell you find yourself to be Americans? Make no damn sense because you destroy.
Read it again.
Pull it back up.
Pull it back up.
This would destroy their sense of nationalism and force them to move willing to submit.
Nope. Force them to be
more willing to submit.
To be more submissive, docile, complacent, weak, house Negro. Go ahead.
The Assyrians were miraculous in miraculous in warfare.
They were vicious in warfare. Go ahead.
In fact, military strategists today have a difficult time understanding how the Assyrians were so advanced in their military tactics. Most of the nations plundered other nations, but Assyria was the worst.
Assyria was the worst. Go ahead.
They were the very definition of a plunderer, because the Lord had raised them up to plunder his rebellious people.
Did the Most High raised up? I'm going to send them against you. All nations, this is the worst. I'm going to send the worst of the worst against you. Gentlemen, sure they did.
The Assyrians were also diabolically cruel.
They were diabolically cruel. I mean, they were skillful at it. Go ahead.
They skinned their victims alive, cut off their hands,
Sounds so familiar. Cut off their hands, skinning people. Go ahead.
feet, noses, ears, eyes, pulled out tongues, made mounds of heads.
Hey, took those heads, put them on trees, ornaments, Christmas. They did the same thing. Go ahead.
Made mounds of heads and many more atrocities to inspire terror in those who were demanded to pay tribute.
And that was us. Noses, ears, cut out tongues, and put mounds of heads. And they were hanging those heads on trees during Christmas celebrations. That's where you get them ornaments from.
Because America did the same thing to the
Yes.
native. For
Yeah.
their gold, and
Yep.
then when they come on this side, they
The
did
same
the
thing
same
to this side of the world. It's the same. It's a shadow of Babylon. It's the same exact thing. Time repeats itself. Nothing new under the sun. Let's get Ezra 9. No, I want Hosea 9, verse 12. It mentioned a cultural mixing, melting pot. Hosea 9, verse 12. As I mentioned, women were always known to run over the wall. They did it on this side of the world. They did it over there also. What did the Most High do to those babies?
The book of Hosea, chapter 9 and verse 12. Though they bring up their children, yet will I bereave them, that there shall not be a man left. Yea, woe also to them when I depart from them.
Read it. I'm sorry. Read it again.
Verse 12.
Yeah.
Though they bring up their children, yet will I bereave them,
Though they bring up their children, yet will I cause them sorrow, bereave them. Go ahead.
that there shall not be a man
There
left.
shall not be a man left, meaning men child, males left. Go ahead.
Yea, woe also to them when I depart from them.
Go ahead.
Ephraim, as I saw Tyrus, is planted in a pleasant place.
To be on this side. He's talking about prophetically this side, in a pleasant place, planted. Go ahead.
But Ephraim shall bring forth his children to the murderer.
Ephraim shall bring forth our children to the murderer. Go ahead. I mean, we have lay with the heathen. Go ahead.
Give them, O Lord, what wilt thou give? Give them a miscarrying womb and dry breasts.
Make it so those children will not survive. Kill the children. Because what happens is when the Spaniards would lay with the native women, they didn't treat them right. A lot of them, they go, okay, you pregnant? Good, go in the field. I don't care. And they would go in the field and work hard and drop dead pregnant. They didn't care. So a lot of those children died. Remnants of those children were referred to as mestizos or mestizas. And primarily it was mestizas that survived. Because he said let a man survive. So any males that did survive were raised up and became taskmasters or slave masters over the full-bloods. And the mestizas, the slave native women, the girls who had Spaniard fathers, were made slaves. And guess what they married? Other native men. And brought forth them light-skinned, pale-faced Ephraimites you see today. That's what you see. That's what took place. But a lot of the doctrine is that the so-called white man is so powerful sexually, he can dilute an entire race of people. That's that white supremacy doctrine. He had so much, he screwed so many women throughout the Americas, all of them are white. Really? Okay, we'll deal with that later on. Ezra, jump to verse 16.
Verse 16. Ephraim is smitten. Their root is dried up. They shall bear no fruit.
Do not bear many children. Go ahead, like they used to. Go ahead.
Yea, though they bring forth.
Children to the murderer, to their oppressor. Go ahead.
Yet will I slay even the beloved fruit of their womb.
I will kill their kids. Oftentimes, they would take the babies and smash them against the stones. Not just our kids, even bastard ones, the heathen ones. Say, oh, that's your Spaniard baby? That's Rodrigo's baby? Oh, that's cute. Smash. They didn't care. It was indiscriminate death over there on this side of the world. But somehow, some way the white man and his powerful He-Man penis just soared through the Americas and just mingled everybody up. White Jesus.
Hey, if that's the case, a lot of them high yellow brothers, you know,
Yeah.
high yellow brothers,
Heathens too.
they gotta check their genealogy.
That's it. You light skin. You might have a
Yeah, me
problem. You might have a problem, brother. I might pass by almost like African.
Because was the same thing with the slaves and them in the Caribbean islands and in here in the Americas. Because when we read the scripture, what it says, thou shalt betroth a wife and another man shall lay with her. Mm-hmm. You understand? So remember, there was such thing as bed wench. There was such thing as you sisters didn't have no choice. The slave,
Concubines, bed wenches, harems.
that was one of the ways sisters was let go free. There was a bed wench and on the slave master die in bed. If he said let her go, that's the only time he was granted.
Leave her his property and stuff. Yeah.
Right. But yours was property. You know, you couldn't go and complain to the law and say my master raped me. You understand? So what you think happened with them kids that came forth? It's the same thing that what happened that Deacon Aiton explained what happened to Northern Kingdom. Mm-hmm. You know, if it was a male, more time the most I get him a miscarrying womb. Mm-hmm. You know, because you got some Judite brothers that very high yellow. Mm-hmm. You know, and that don't say that they of another nation, no.
Right.
You know, so
I'm going to prove that again, that you had Jakes of all different hues to all different times. I'm going to show you. Let's get Ezra 9, verse 1. Ezra 9, verse 1.
The book of Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 1. Now when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the lands.
Now, what I want, I'm sorry. I think I left that out. Give me the map of Assyria. Do I want that map now? Let me see if I want it now. Hold on a second. Give me the map now. I know I'm gonna forget. I know me. I'll forget it. I'll just get out the way. I'll just go readdress it again if I need to. Give me the Bible Atlas picture of Assyrian right there. Blow that up if you can. All right. So you have this is Assyrian supremacy in the 7th century. This when Assyria was pretty much ruling over everything. They were dominating everything. All that purple is what they reigned over. All that purple is their land, their territory. You have right there, you have from the bottom, that's where Israel was. And you're going up, you see Ashdod, Megiddo, Phoenicia, Tyre, Sidon, Byblos, Arvad. Now go over, bring it closer now. Bring it closer. I'm gonna show you the cities where you place that. Yeah, that's good. Go over towards the left. Go up, right there. See, it says river goes on. That blue line is a river. Goes on. You have Kala. You have Habor, right there. Under where it says Rezeph. You have Beth Eden, Tipsah, Rezeph, Turka. You have Habor right there. See it? It's kind of folded into the page. It says Habor right there. Habor River. And you have Tigris River, which goes into the Euphrates. They meet each other into the Euphrates. Go down to the end again. Leading into right. Go over. Right. See Assyria, Ashur. Right there. That's Assyria. I say go up some. Nineveh, Captain. See Nineveh right there, Nineveh. Then go over to your right. That way, yeah. See Ecbatana? Right? Media, see? So we want, they placed this over there and they placed this in cities over there. Ecbatana is the city of the Media. That's where Tobit was. Tobit told his son to go there, to Ecbatana, where it will be safe, because the Babylon is going to come against Assyria and destroy it. So he said, flee to Media, Ecbatana, where you'll be safe. So you have Elam right there, that's Persians. Persia right there, Susa's their capital, or Shushan the palace. Susa right there, and you have North Iran. That's Medes right there, Japheth. So we mingled among them over there, and mingled among them over here. Y'all see that? And you have Babylonia on the bottom, Babylonia on the bottom right there. Ruled by them as well until you had Nabopolassar. Nebuchadnezzar's father took over, and then his son, he passed it on to his son. Y'all follow? All right. So now let's go to where we at? Ezra 9? Go to on next page. Go to 226. Yep. Blow that up now. So now after Assyria was overthrown, Babylon or Babylonian, the Babylonians or Cushites took over. Blow it up some more as you can. See right there, it's closer, it's more clearer. Gozan, Habor, see it? Euphrates River all meet together. And you have over there, you have Kala, Nineveh right there. The green represents Babylon. So where Assyria was conquered, they took what Assyria had. It went from purple to green. See that? So what Assyria had supremacy over, Babylon took over. We went from, all we did was live in the same building, got new landlords. That's all it is. There's new landlords. Same building, same hood, same ghetto, new landlords. So you have Assyria and then Babylon took over. See that? This is all Babylonian rule right here. Assyria is under their rule. Babylonia is big now. Remember, in Babylonia, it was smaller. In Assyria, it's small letters. Now it's big here because it's a rule. That's the capital now. See, Separ, Katha, Tel Aviv, all that stuff, whatever. Ashur. That's where Israel, and Ephraim remained among them, scattered here. Now they took Judah over. They took Judah, remnants of Ephraim, and brought us there. That's where that arrow's point. That's going from Judah. See, it says Jerusalem right there. That's them taking us from Jerusalem over to Babylon. You see that? That's what the arrow's pointing to. It's pointing to, see, it's pointing to Judah, the red arrow, leading to Babylon. Then we ended up during Ezra's time and Zerubbabel's time and Nehemiah's time going back. Ezra 9. So the same practice of multiculturalism continued at Babylon. It didn't change. It didn't change. Ezra 9 verse 1.
The book of Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 1. Now when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the lands, doing according to their abominations, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites.
So Israel was mingled, Judah mingled with the heathens. Why? Because Babylon. We came back with heathen wives. That was known. I remember that cultural mixing was going on. We were mingling ourselves. Go ahead. No, just what verse is that? 1?
That was
verse 2.
Verse 2. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves.
The men, go ahead.
And for their sons, so that the holy seed had mingled themselves with the people of those lands.
The holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Because Assyria ruled those lands, and Babylon ruled over those lands. And we mingle with them during those times. Go ahead.
Yea, the hand of the princes and the rulers had been chief in this trespass.
They all doing the same thing. Jump to verse 10.
And now, O our God, what shall we say after this? For we have forsaken thy commandments, which thou hast commanded by the servants the prophets, saying, the land unto which ye go to possess it is an unclean land, with the filthiness of the people of the lands, with their abominations, which have filled it from one end to another with their uncleanness. Now therefore give not your daughters unto their sons, neither take their daughters unto your sons, nor seek their peace or their wealth forever.
Don't mingle with them. Go ahead.
That ye may be strong, and eat the good of the land, and leave it for an inheritance to your children
That's
forever.
what God told us to do before we got taken into captivity. Go ahead.
And after all that has come upon us for our evil deeds and for our great trespass, seeing that thou, our God, hast punished us less than our iniquities deserve, and has given us such deliverance as this.
Watch this.
Should we again break thy commandments and join in affinity with the people of these abominations?
Affinity means marriage or a relationship of any kind with these nations. That's what affinity means. Go ahead.
Wouldest not thou be angry with us till thou hadst consumed us, so that there should be no remnant nor escaping?
Won't that piss you off if you see us intermingling or dabbling in the melting pot of the captivity that we're in? Won't that piss the Lord off? The answer is yes, it will piss him off. He don't want us doing that. Go ahead. Chapter 10, verse 1.
Ezra chapter 10, verse 1. Now when Ezra had prayed, and when he had confessed, weeping and casting himself down before the house of God, there assembled unto him out of Israel a very great congregation of men and women and children. For the people wept very sore.
Go ahead.
And Shechaniah, the son of Jehiel, one of the sons of Elam, answered and said unto Ezra, we have trespassed against our God, and have taken strange wives of the people of the land. Yet now there is hope in Israel concerning this thing.
Go ahead, watch this.
Now therefore let us make a covenant with our God, to put away all the wives, and such as are born of them.
We're going to clean house. We're going to start all over, brand new, fresh. Just get rid of everybody. Even if they're Jake, get rid of them. Get rid of all the kids. Because remember, Israel, what the Most High said to Solomon, when you marry the other nations, you're going to serve their gods. So what happened was when Israelite men would marry heathen women, the women would raise the children in their customs. Prime example, you have The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. He follows the philosophy of his mother, that Austronesian Pacific Islander tattoo on his chest. He's following behind his mama. You have Drake saying he's Jewish. He's following behind his mama. You have who else? Mariah Carey, following behind her mama. You have who else? Vin Diesel, another one. He's Jake. He's a twin. I don't know what I am. I'm confused. He won't keep his job. He don't say he don't know what he is. He's a Jake too. But he's the same way. He's confused. Who else you have? Tiger Woods. Oh, God, I'm Campbell Asian. You can't forget that idiot. He's still suffering. He needs that camera flash one good time. He needs a camera flash. One time. That teacup is still spinning, that teacup.
Hey, how much money did his wife get?
I don't know. She beat us behind first.
Couple hundred millions.
300 million. He's raised by his mama. He's following that philosophy of Hindu, whatever, that nonsense, Buddhism, whatever, following behind his mama. I call them mixed nuts. When you are Jake father and you're following behind your mama, you a mixed nut. I call you mixed nuts. You're just all confused.
Yeah, you know, like if I were Tiger Woods, I would lose my mind. You take 300 something, that I would lose my mind. And not the way he loses his mind. Yeah.
But that's these examples of children who have Jake fathers and heathen mothers, and yet they follow the philosophy and doctrine of the mothers. So Ezra said, listen, man, you know what? We're going to start over fresh, clean house. But here's the difference. During this time, Ezra and Nehemiah had access to genealogical records of everyone that returned from the exile of Babylon. You came saying, I'm Judah. Prove it. What's your name? What's your father's name? Okay, you work out. Okay, good. Next. What's your name? So-and-so. I'm a child of Levi. High priest of Aaron's descendant. Yeah? What's your name? So-and-so. You ain't here. Yeah, you go over there. What tribe are you? Reuben. And so on and so forth. You got Jakes today saying, you're a mamzer. You're a bastard. Where is your record of genealogy from back then? Where is it? How do you know you're not a bastard? How do you know? Where's your record of genealogy of your forefathers going back to Babylon? Show it to me. That we all may be amazed at your brilliance. Please bless us with this brilliance of yours, Israelites out there. Where we at? 10 verse 2.
3.
Yeah, verse 3 now. Thank you.
As chapter 10, verse 3. Now therefore let us make a covenant with our God, to put away all the wives, and such as are born of them, according to the counsel of my Lord, and of those that tremble at the commandment of our God, and let it be done according to the law. Arise, for this matter belongeth unto thee. We also will be with thee. Be of good courage, and do it. Then arose Ezra, and made the chief priests, the Levites, and all Israel to swear that they should do according to this word, and they swear.
They agreed. Go ahead.
Then Ezra rose up from before the house of God, and went into the chamber of Johanan, the son of Eliashib. And when he came thither, he did eat no bread.
Now keep in mind, it says he went into the temple of Johanan, the son of Eliashib. Keep that guy in mind, Eliashib. Go ahead.
He did eat no bread, nor drink water, for he mourned because of the transgression of them that had been carried away.
Go ahead.
And they made proclamation throughout Judah and Jerusalem unto all the children of the captivity, that they should gather themselves together unto Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
And that whosoever would not come within 3 days, according to the counsel of the princes and the elders, all his substance should be forfeited, and himself separated from the congregation of those that had been carried away.
He gets sent away. Go ahead.
Then all the men of Judah and Benjamin gathered themselves unto Jerusalem within 3 days, It was the 9th month on the 20th day of the month, and all the people sat in the street of the house of God, trembling because of this matter, and for a great rain. And Ezra the priest stood up and said unto them, Ye have transgressed, and have taken strange wives to increase the trespass of Israel.
It's a sin to marry the other nations. Go ahead.
Now therefore make confession unto the Lord God your fathers, and do his pleasure, and separate yourselves from the people of the land, and from the strange wives.
Go ahead.
Then all the congregation answered and said with a loud voice, As thou hast said, so must we do.
Go ahead.
But the people are many,
It's a lot of us. Go ahead.
and it is a time of much rain, and we are not able to stand without.
Outside. Go ahead.
Neither is this a work of one day or two, for we are many that have transgressed in this thing.
Go ahead.
Let now our rulers over all the congregation stand, and let them which have taken strange wives in our cities come at appointed times, and with them the elders of every city and judges thereof, until the fierce wrath of our God for this matter be turned from us. Only Jonathan the son of Asahel and Jahaziah the son of Tikva were employed about this matter, and Meshullam and Shabbath and Shabbatai the Levite helped them. And the children of the captivity.
They had men appointed to make certain that these brothers got rid of their wives and got rid of them kids. Go ahead. Inspections. Go ahead.
And the children of the captivity did so. And Ezra the priest with certain chief of the fathers after the house of their fathers, and all of them by their names, were separated. And sat down in the first day of the 10th month.
They sat down the first day of the 10th month. Go ahead.
To examine the matter.
To deal with this matter of separation from the heathens. Go ahead.
And they made an end with all the men that had taken strange wives by the first day of the first month.
How long is that? 10th month to the first month. How long? How much time between that? 3 months. Took 3 months to do this. 3 months. So clean house. Now, not a day or two, what they said, but it took 3 months to make sure everybody was in compliance with what was law, with this law being passed. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And among the sons of the priests there were found that had taken strange wives, namely of the sons of Jeshua, the son of Jozadak.
So Jeshua, the same brother that helped Zerubbabel, his sons were guilty of this. His sons were married to strange women too. Go ahead.
And his brethren, Messiah and Eleazar and Jarib and Gedaliah.
And his brothers, Joshua's sons were guilty of marrying strange women. He was a righteous man. His kids was wicked as hell. All your kids ain't saints up in here. Who to mine? They ain't saying a lot of our kids got the devil on them. I know mine do. Slinky, that boy, he concerns me. But anyway, our kids got the devil on them. Go ahead.
Verse 19.
Yeah.
And they gave their hands that they would put away their wives, and being guilty, they offered a ram of the flock for their trespass.
Go ahead.
And of the sons of Emer, Hanai.
That's all I want. So they all gave a flock for the trespass. That's all I want. Let me read the whole thing. Go to 1 Ezra 8:69. Remember it said earlier in Ezra 9, verse 2, that they mingled themselves among the people. 1 Ezra 8, verse 69.
The book of 1 Ezra, chapter 8 and verse 69. The nation of Israel, the princes, the priests, and Levites have not put away from them the strange people of the land, nor the pollutions of the Gentiles, to wit, of the Canaanites, Hittites, Pharisaites, Jebusites, and the Moabites, Egyptians, and Edomites.
That's left out in Ezra, so he repeats it. This is history being repeated again. But it says they were married to Edomites also. Go ahead.
For both they and their sons have married with their daughters, and the holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the land.
It's mixed, mingled, mixed with the strange people of the land. Remember Assyria? It was a great melting pot. Babylon took over where Assyria left off, took over where Assyria left off, and did the same thing over there. All right? Judah and Ephraim were subject to the same society, the same philosophy. Intermingling, intermarrying. That philosophy went from Assyria all the way into Babylon. Then as time went on, remember, Persia was liberal. Do what you want. Same thing at that time. The Greeks, same thing. As long as you become a Greek, do as the Greeks do. Rome, same thing. Until present, that doctrine of all becoming one, has been around for ages.
The book of 1 Ezra, chapter 8 and verse 70. For both they and their sons have married with their daughters, and the holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the
I mean,
land.
the nation, not sperm, the nation itself has mingled themselves with the people of the land. The men and women mingled themselves by intermarrying with the nations. That's what it means by the holy seed is mixed. Go ahead.
And from the beginning of this matter, the rulers and the great men have been partakers of this iniquity.
Now let's get the book I have. Use this all the time, one of my favorites. Ancient American Indians. I want the conclusion of the book. Page 250.
Chapter 4, the conclusion.
Now this book basically goes into, it's called Ancient American Indians by Paul and Millie Chessman, whatever. It says their origins, civilizations, and old world connections. Old world means the East, Middle East, and so forth. Old world. Read that.
And so the question is asked, what of these American Indians?
So the question's asked, after all the things you read in this book, there's all different beliefs and different theories on where they come from and confirmations where they come from and who they are. What's to be said about the Native Americans and where they're from? Go ahead.
They certainly originated from somewhere.
They came from somewhere.
Current studies indicate multiracial origins for the Indians of the Americas.
Read it again.
Current studies indicate multiracial origins for the Indians of the Americas.
Watch this.
Clearly, the age-old all came over from the Bering Strait theory is no longer valid.
It's a lie. Age-old Bering Strait theory is no longer valid. They cannot prove it. I'm going to explain to you what that is. The Bering Strait is basically what they believe to have been an ice bridge that formed during the Ice Age or glacial era that formed between Europe and the Americas, in which the Native Americans somehow in the freezing cold, minus temperatures, below 30 degrees, below zero, they somehow walked across this land bridge that is not there anymore and got to this side of the world. That was formed 40,000 years ago. Then 40 turned to 30, 30 turned to 20, 20 turned to 10, and now it's just, we don't know.
No, Deacon Athan, they ski. They ski up
They
in
didn't
here.
ski, right. They had
Yeah,
north
they
faces,
ski.
too. They had north
Yeah,
faces
yes, they
that
ski.
they used. I forgot, I'm sorry. But pretty much, that bridge was formed during the Ice Age. If you believe in the Ice Age, listen to me carefully. If you believe in the Ice Age, you do not believe in God. Because the Ice Age ties into the theory of evolution, which makes the earth billions of years old. Thousands upon thousands of years old, which does not validate the Bible whatsoever. So if you believe in the Bering Strait theory, you don't believe in God. Because they say that the Native Americans crossed over from Asia into the Americas through the Bering Strait. So they're Asians or Mongoloid peoples. If you say that, you do not believe in the Bible, and the white man is your God once again. Read that, please. Clearly the age-old.
Clearly, the age-old quote all came over from the Bering Strait theory is no longer valid. As the author has pointed out in this volume, even blood types and cranial formations vary in many of the tribes.
Watch this.
Suggesting extremely cosmopolitan, multiracial characteristics among our Native Americans.
What's that mean? No one call out. What is that saying about them? What happened? I don't get a lie. I gotta get a lie. Let's just keep it short, man. You be doing Deacon Yasop stuff. Northern Kingdom version.
We mixed among the nations.
Thank you. Say it again. Say it slower, though.
We mixed among the nations.
When?
Since the time of Assyria and even before a little.
And even after.
Yeah, and even after, yeah.
Babylon also. So that's why you have North American Indians looking so diverse. Because they mingled themselves. Some look just like some of y'all in Judah in the room. Some look like straight Judites. And some look more Asian. Some have fine hair. Some have woolly hair. Some have real high cheekbones. Some don't. Because they mingled themselves for centuries among the nations. They retained their dark skin, a lot of them. But when they came over here, some of them mixed around with Esau. Some of them mix around with the Assyrians, mix around with the Syrians, mix around with the Iraqis, the Medes. Remember how the Medes look? Look up Hawaiians real quick. Remember, they were placed in cities of the Medes.
The Hawaiian people got hope.
Some of them, because remember, during the plantations, they took some Ephraimites from Puerto Rico as slaves into areas of the Philippines and Hawaii to work on plantations there. So some of them are. Look at them right in the middle right here with the hand. Look at their eyes. Go click that picture right there, the middle one. The middle picture. Yeah, look at them. You have some Gadites look like that. They're Asian. No, they're not. They mingled with these people. They mingled with them. Go over. See, so you have some that look like that. Look at the man over there on the right. So I'm explaining to you that Ephraim mingled themselves with these diverse people. So you had different bone structures, different features among them. That they mingled themselves. They mingled themselves with the Egyptians, mingled themselves with the Syrians, with the Assyrians, with the Babylonians, with the Medes. On numerous occasions. Come on out. Go back to that book again. It says, as the author has pointed out in this volume, even blood types and cranial formations vary in many of the tribes, suggesting extremely cosmopolitan means multicultural or racial, multiracial characteristics, meaning their features among our Native Americans, because in the book told you that they were keeping Israelite customs, but they had different features, diverse features, because they mingled themselves among the people. And I've done so for many times. Remember, as Judah, we cleaned house. We started over fresh. Even didn't start fresh. They remained like that. Then came over here looking like that. And brought some of those customs over here.
And the reason why we was able to start fresh is because we had records.
Right.
We had records. That's why when you go into Christ now, what Christ said? Christ said, let the wheat and the tear grow together.
Yep.
Because we ain't got no records today to say, you know what? This brother looks suspect. What's your genealogy, man? Who's your father? What father you come? What's your forefather's name?
Right. You can go
You
with
understand? So no, you go and trace it back, and you could tell me I came from so and so. I'm from the tribe of Ephraim. My father was so and so, and we go in the book and we like, look, okay, you good. So we can't do that. That's why Christ said, let the wheat and the tear grow together. You understand? And in the end, the angel's going to separate some of y'all. Going to separate y'all. Some of y'all might be heathen thinking you're Israel. Mm-hmm. And you know what gonna make you a heathen, and you gonna know it deep inside you a heathen? If you breaking God's laws. You understand? If you don't because remember what the scripture say, if you marry a heathen. He said that heathen gonna take you away from serving the Lord. Mm-hmm. So you brothers that marry sisters, you questioning, I wonder if she Israel. I don't know. She says she might be Israel. If she pulling you away from God's laws, guess what? She a heathen. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the brothers that marry sisters. Yeah. If the brother pulling you sister, you marry a brother, and he pulling you away from God's laws, guess what? He might be a heathen. You understand? So that's a test. That's a test you could give a brother today or a sister.
Yeah, because many of our brothers that go through that, either it's 3 tribes. They say their sister is Ephraim. No, Manasseh. No, what's the other side?
Benjamin.
Yeah, Benjamin.
Asher.
You know what I mean? But they never say Levi for some reason. You understand?
Oh, man. So what's happening is this doctrine is being led by two people. It's two types of people. Two types of people. You have Afrocentric Israelites, and you have the Jake women primarily that have a hatred for sisters who don't have the same hair as them, because their hair is finer than theirs. They go, oh, you want to marry her because she got fine hair. Her hair ain't really like mine. You hate yourself. They ain't Jake. That's what it's coming. It's a low self-esteem doctrine. And dumb men supporting it. Yeah, sis, they hate their people. Yeah. That ain't the case. Our people are diverse in features. Diverse. We have 5 different mothers. People don't understand that. What did Jacob's wives look like?
Rachel was
Rachel was his people. laid with his people, and he had 2 heathen maidservants he laid with. Well, how they look? They might have had chinky eyes. How you don't know how they looked. They might have had fine hair. We don't know. 5 different mothers, if you include Joseph's wife. 5 different mothers.
Yeah, perfect example, Esther. She
Esther, I'm gonna
passed
get to that
as
in
a
minute. Yeah,
Persian.
yeah, it's coming up. Yeah. That's all right. I'm going to get that right now.
Deke,
Yeah.
say something real quick. Like, if you look at Levi and Issachar, they got the same mom, but they look totally different. You know, but they got the same mom when you trace it back.
Because you have some Issachar that passed the straight like Judah. A lot of them. And some, so remember, remnants of Ephraim returned with Judah during exile and stay with us. And those are the ones that retained themselves. The ones that remained scattered abroad and came over here, they're diverse. It's diverse features. There's multiracial cultural features among the people on this side of the world. No, Nehemiah 9. We didn't read this.
The book of Nehemiah, chapter 9 and verse 1.
Yep.
Now in the 24th day of this month, the children of Israel were assembled with fasting and with sackcloths and earth upon them. And the seed of Israel separated themselves from all strangers.
Because Ezra and Nehemiah were on the same time. They were contemporaries. They were on the same exact time. Nehemiah was the physical advisor, Ezra was the spiritual advisor of the people. Go ahead.
And stood and confessed their sins and the iniquities of their fathers.
We're going to jump to chapter 10, verse 28.
Nehemiah chapter 10 and verse 28. And the rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the porters, the singers, the Nethinims, and all they that had separated themselves from the people of the lands unto the laws of God, their wives, their sons, and their daughters, everyone having knowledge and having understanding. They clave to their brethren.
They stuck to their own. They gained nationalism, a sense of nationalism that was destroyed during the Assyrian and Babylonian captivity. They clave to their brethren. They stuck to their own kind. That's what it's saying. They clave to their brethren. Go ahead.
They clave to their brethren, their nobles, and entered into a curse and into an oath to walk in God's law, which was given by Moses, the servant of God, and to observe and to do all the commandments of the Lord our God, and his judgments and his statutes. And that we would not give our daughters unto the people of the land, nor take their daughters for our sons.
That's all I want. Go to 13, verse 3.
Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 3. Now it came to pass when they had heard the law, that they separated themselves from Israel, all the mixed multitude.
All the mixed multitude of different nations, diverse nations, whom northern kingdom mingled themselves with prior to. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And before this, Eliashib the priest.
Remember that guy in Ezra, Eliashib, the priest. Go ahead.
And before this, Eliashib the priest, having the oversight of the chamber of the house of our God, was allied unto Tobiah.
He was friends with an Ammonite who hated our guts. Eliashib was friends or an ally with Tobiah the Ammonite, who was friends with Sanballat the Horonite, who was trying to kill Nehemiah when they were building the wall. Keep that in mind. Eliashib was allied with Tobiah, right? Get verse 23.
Verse
Same
23. In those days also I saw Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab.
See that? Because remember, we did that during the time of Assyria and Babylon. Go ahead.
And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language.
Because their mothers were raising them. Go ahead.
But according to the language of each people.
Of their mothers. Go ahead.
And I contended with them, and cursed them, and smote certain of them.
He beat people up. Nehemiah was kicking people's behind. Go ahead.
And plucked off their hair, and made them swear by God, saying, Ye shall not give your daughters to their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves.
Go ahead.
Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things?
See what he's saying? Did not King Solomon sin for doing the very same thing? We read that earlier. Did not King Solomon do the same exact thing that you guys are guilty of doing right now? Go ahead.
Yet among many nations was there no king like him.
Yet he was a great king, but he messed up in that area. Go ahead.
Who was beloved of his God, and made him king over all Israel.
Watch this.
Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin.
outlandish women. Women who are outside of our land are called outlandish women. Caused him to sin. Go ahead.
Shall we then hearken unto you to do all this great evil, to transgress against our God in marrying strange wives?
Talking to the elders. Go ahead.
And one of the sons of Jehoiada, the son of Eliashib,
Remember Eliashib, who was allied to Tobiah. Go ahead.
the high priest, was son-in-law to Sanballat the Horonite.
He was a son-in-law to a Hamite. Watch this.
Therefore I chased him from me.
He chased him. He chased that dude because that dude was married to a heathen. He was supposed to cut her off. So Nehemiah was beating people up and chasing them out, chasing them around. Nehemiah did not play games with the people. All right? So now, let's get Esther 2 verse 5.
The book of Esther, chapter 2 and verse 5.
Esther was of the tribe of Benjamin, and Mordecai was her cousin, I believe. Esther 2 verse 5.
The book of Esther, chapter 2 and verse 5. Now in Shushan the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite.
Watch this.
Who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity, which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
Verse 7.
And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter.
His uncle's daughter, his cousin. His uncle's daughter. Go ahead. His cousin, go ahead.
For she had neither father nor mother.
They were gone. Go ahead.
And the maid was fair and
She
beautiful.
was very beautiful. Go ahead.
Whom Mordecai, then her father and
When her father. Who Mordecai when her father.
whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took her for his own daughter.
He raised her as his own. Jump down to verse 10.
Verse 10. Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it.
So Esther had the kind of features that she was ambiguous in the face. You could not tell what she was. So she did not look like a Jew. She looked like something else. You understand what I'm saying? And both her parents is Jake. Showing you that Israel had diverse features. Both her parents is Benjamites. So why she look so different? Because our people were diverse in features even then. I'm going to say it again. We had 5 different women as our mothers. 5 different women, 5. 2 heathens, 2 Jake. You understand? Rachel and Leah had handmaids. They were concubines. Those are not Hebrew women. You understand? Judith 10. Judith 10. This is a sister named Judith of the tribe of Simeon. During the same time, now we're going into Persian captivity now. We're going into Persian captivity. Nehemiah and Ezra were in Persian captivity.
The book of Judith, chapter 10 and verse 18.
Now, I'm sorry, we had the speed. At this point, Babylon was overthrown by the Persians, and Babylon tried to make a comeback, and they had Nebuchadnezzar had a general named Holofernes, who he used to basically try to overthrow and win the kingdom back from Persia. So at this point, Judith was sent to speak to Holofernes, and she eventually kills him. But she was sent to speak to Holofernes, the general, the Babylonian king's general. All right, and let's see what he says. When she walked into the camp among the heathens to visit this heathen general, watch what they say about her. Verse 18.
The book of Judith, chapter 10 and verse 18. Then was there a concourse throughout all the camp, for her coming was noised among the tents.
They saw Judith coming through the camp. Go ahead.
And they came about her as she stood without the tent of Holofernes, till they told him of her.
So she's standing outside basically outside of his house. People and all his men are looking at her like, wow, she's bad. Go ahead.
And they wondered at her beauty.
Damn, look how fine she is, yo. You see? All these heathens, yo, look at her, yo, oh my goodness. Go ahead.
And admired the children of Israel.
And they admired the children of Israel, the men. Go ahead. For one woman. Go ahead.
And admired the children of Israel because of her. And every one said to his neighbor, who would despise this people that have among them such women? Surely it is not good that one man of them be left.
Then they said we should kill them all and take all their women. So that admiration wasn't admiration, a good thing. It was envy. Damn, we have women that fine? We got to kill off all the men and take the women from them. They'll use them to destroy us. Go ahead.
who being let go might deceive the whole earth.
They'll use them to destroy us. And we did. That's what she came to do. She came, eventually she cut his head off, Alafadi's head off. She was so bad, he got so drunk ever in his life, he got so drunk being with her that he passed out. She took his sword and cut his head off and brought it back to camp. And that's how they backed down at that point. That's when Babylon pretty much fell down at that point. Let's go to American Indians again. I read this before, but I'm going to read it again. In the Maya context, Fray Diego de Landa, one of the early Spanish padres, fathers, priests, recorded a Yucatan tradition. Yucatan is Mexico. Tradition concerning their forefathers, which links them to the Middle East. Some of the old people of Yucatan say that they have heard from their ancestors that this land was occupied by a race of people who came from the East and whom God had delivered by opening 12 paths through the sea. If this were true, it necessarily follows that all the inhabitants of the Indies or the Americas are descendants of the Jews. Because it is true. It says all the inhabitants, because all of them came from the same direction. All of them came from under Africa to the South America, and they all migrated upwards and took their lots of land, one by one. The allotments of land. Some fighting over it. Now, let's get page 149. Read that, Ezekiel, the highlighter part.
The Aztecs?
Yeah, the Aztecs is good.
The Aztecs taught that their ancestral father and mother with their 15 children came to this land by the way of a boat.
By what?
By the way of a boat.
By way of boat. Not land bridge. Boat. Boat. Next part. Andres de Tapia.
Andres de Tapia said that Montezuma told Cortez how the people known as Indians had come from ships.
No, from the land bridge.
How the people known as Indians had come from ships.
That they came from ships. Go down to the highlighter part there. For years,
the
Aztecs are what you call today Mexicans today. So-called Mexicans. They call themselves, even to now, they call themselves Aztecas or Aztecans or Azteca, Issachar. It's the same thing. It's a play on words. For years, the Aztecs, go ahead. Them big Olmec heads, that's their natural features. That's their natural features. Them big heads you see over there, that's how Issachar looked. Then they mixed around and so forth. Some look like that, some did not. Go ahead.
For years, the Aztecs had, quote, been wandering from place to place.
Because remember, they all arrived in South America and migrated upwards till they got to the north. Go ahead.
Seeking a promised land, which their deity had offered them.
They all wandered from place to place, seeking a promised land. Remember that book by Ronald Sanders, Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, plural. Go ahead.
Other enduring traditions that indicate a Hebrew origin of some of the ancestors of the American Indian are as follows. In this history, the Indian of the Mississippi, Dupratz, says that the old Indian chief who kept the temple told him that his race came from the south and west, indicating Mexico and the southern region, and that they were driven into this land. And at
They
the time,
came from the south and west. Southwest. Go ahead. Southwest. Go ahead.
indicating Mexico and the southern region, and that they were driven into this land. And at the time, white people were filled the entire land with cities and villages. When pressed for an answer...
No. I'm sorry, we're reading too fast. Is that they were driven into this land, and at that time, that white people filled because they took over. They colonialized. It was colonized. At that time, that white people filled, the entire land was filled with cities and villages because we were not savages. We had cities, we had homes, we had a community. We weren't running around throwing spears everywhere. We were wise. Go ahead.
When pressed for an answer from where his people originally came,
watch this.
He said that they did not know, but that their most ancient speech, presumably, says the author, their most ancient legend, says their fathers came from where the sun rises.
Stop. Where does the sun rise from? The east. The east. Go ahead.
That they were a long time on their journey.
That they're on a long time of this trip from the east over to the west. Go ahead.
and were on the point of perishing in their journey.
Because there was a year and a half on a ship. Go ahead.
The Indian further claimed that they reached this land without any effort on their part,
How? Go ahead.
implying that some power other than their own brought them.
Go ahead. Brought them. Go to the next page. Okay, that's it. Well, it brought them there. That's what it says. Brought them there. I mean, remember it said in Esdras, the Most High showed signs for them. Second Esdras 13, y'all remember that? That's what it's saying. It's confirming. They're confirming second Esdras that Columbus used to know that people are over here. And he was not looking for Chinese people because he had people on the ship, Israelites on the ship that translated into Hebrew. Why would you bring a Hebrew translator to go to China? That just sounds asinine. They're going to die in the process then. We're going to go to, what else I want? 170. Native Americans telling you they come from the east. Their forefathers is Israelites, but we're still confused. In his own writings.
In his own writings, Dr. Cyrus Gordon elaborates on a stone found in Paraíba, Brazil in 1872.
He found this ancient stone in Brazil, Paraíba, in 1872. Go down. The next highlighted part. The text used northwest.
Where's that? Oh,
Right there.
the text used Northwest Semitic inscriptions.
So the text that he found in this stone was written in was a Semitic inscription, not Hamitic. Keep this in mind, because Esau play games. Semitic. Are we Hamitic or are we Semitic? We are Shemitic or Semitic. Go ahead.
The text used Northwest Semitic inscriptions unknown in 1872, but now fully accepted. Dr. Gordon's translation of the stone is as follows. We are Sidonian Canaanites from the city of the merchant king.
That's what they said in the stone. Go ahead.
We are cast up on this distant island, a land of mountains, and embarked from Ezion-Geber into the Red Sea. We voyaged with 10 ships.
Well, hold on. Stop. Read it again. We are cast up what?
We are Sidonian Canaanites from the city of the merchant king.
Now remember, that's what he's saying. He's saying allegedly it says this. But if it's Semitic inscription, they can't be Sidonian Canaanites because it's Semitic inscription. These are Canaanites, these are Hamites. Go ahead.
We are cast up on this distant land, a land of.
Go ahead.
On this distant island, a land of mountains.
A land of mountains. Go ahead.
And embarked from Ezion-Geber.
Stop. Ezion-Geber is what you want to deal with. Ezion-Geber. Keep that word in mind. Go ahead.
And embarked from Ezion-Geber into the Red Sea.
Into the Red Sea. Go ahead.
We voyaged with 10 ships.
Stop. 10 ships. That sounds so familiar. Get Esdras real quick. Second Esdras 13. 10 ships. Why 10? Second Esdras 13. Know what I want? 40.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes.
Those are the what?
Those are the 10 tribes.
The what?
The 10 tribes.
Go ahead.
Which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king.
10 consists of, and you include Dan, it makes it 10. 10. Go ahead.
Whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land.
Go ahead.
But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Where never mankind resided or lived. Go ahead.
That they might there
That
keep
they might there in that land where never mankind dwelt. Do what?
keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
Samaria. Go ahead.
And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth.
Now this is during the time of the Persian captivity. They gained liberty to do this during the Persian captivity, right? Keep reading. Now, this says Ezion-Geber. This is two different groups that left. Read that.
And embarked from Ezion-Geber into the Red Sea.
Watch this.
We voyaged with 10 ships and were at sea together 2 years around Africa.
2 years it took them to go around Africa from this area. From Ezion-Geber, it took them 2 years. But this says year and a half. So from leaving from the Euphrates, I'm going to show you the map. I have the map in my book. I'm going to show it to you. Go ahead.
So we have come here.
So we have come here. Go ahead.
12 men, 3 women, into island of iron.
They called this place Brazil. They called Brazil the island of iron. Go ahead.
Dr. Gordon believes the voyage began in 534 BC and ended in Brazil in 531 BC.
So Dr. Gordon believes the voyage they took to get over there was in 534 BC. Who knows what year the Persian Empire started? Who knows? Don't call out. Who has an idea? Anyone have an idea? Want to take a shot at it? Yeah.
Shalom.
Shalom.
538 BC.
539 or 538 BC, correct. 538 or 9 BC is when it started. This voyage took place when? 4 years later. So they had liberty to come here during that time. That's why it's dated 534, during the Persian captivity. They left from Ezion-Geber. During this time, Israel had liberty to return to their land. Ezion-Geber was the dock that King Solomon would send his ships to go back and forth and do trade with Hiram. Hiram and him sent their ships back and forth from that area, Ezion-Geber. So heathens didn't leave from there because we took the land back by this time. You understand? This is 4 years into our liberty from Babylon. Heathens weren't there. That's why I find it very odd that they would call themselves Sidonian Canaanites. I find it very odd that he would translate it like that in this Semitic language. Interesting, Esau. Get the map real quick. I'm going to show you the map. I'm going to show you Ezion-Geber in a few moments. Page 174 and 75. 174? Ah, yes, thank you. Blow it up. I'm going to show y'all. Go over to your right. We'll bring it over to the left. Zoom on that page. Yeah, zoom on that area right there. Where the green is at in the middle. I'll move it over. Bring it up real close so everybody can see. I want everybody to see it. Blow it up some more. The day the Negro being an idiot is done. It's finished. Right there's good. Right there's good. Now, you see Ezion-Geber right there? Now look over to the right. What do you see? The Euphrates River. See it's conjacent. That's a word, right? Adjacent. I said conjacent, right? I'm sorry, lava now. Adjacent. It's like lava. Adjacent to each other. You have Euphrates on that side. So Ephraim originally took the Euphrates. Why? Because they were in that area. During the return, some of them said, well, we're going to leave also. We're going to go through that way. Ezion-Geber. So go down. I'm going to show you. See right there, Persian Gulf. You see, now bring it, matter of fact, bring it back. Push it back. Push it from a distance so you can see. More. Push it back some more. More. Right there. See, they did. See, that's the Horn of Africa right there. The Horn of Africa on the bottom. See it? The Horn of Africa. They went, it says gold, gems, perfumes. That's the Solomon was doing trade. They would travel, bring their ships in there. So that was our route. We knew that route already. So we went into the Gulf of Aden. There's still the Persian Gulf. It's the same area. Persian Gulf or Indian Ocean. They went around, it was longer. They went through the Persian Gulf, they avoid the Horn. If they go through Ezion-Geber, they got to go around that Horn. That's longer. You understand? Year and a half on one side, 2 years on the other side. You understand? Because the waters over here are very turbulent on this side. Indian Ocean is very turbulent. The Most High held still the flood so they can go through, like in Esdras. So they went through Ezion-Geber, going down there to go around the Horn of Africa. Whereas you go to the Persian Gulf, you kind of avoid it. You go that way, you go down that way, it's faster. You understand? So now, read on, Esdras.
Verse 46.
No,
Sec-
read it already? Read
Yeah, we
verse 43 again to 45.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 43. And they entered into Euphrates
It's up there above the Persian Gulf, Euphrates. Go ahead.
by the narrow passages of the river.
Now it's a narrow passage. You saw a narrow passage up there, and you go up, bring it up. Bring it up some. Euphrates. See it right there in blue? It's a narrow passage, very narrow, of the river. Go ahead.
For the Most High showed signs for them.
Remember, he said in the book, he said that that a power led us to come over here. That's the same thing being said right here. Go ahead.
For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over.
Do what? Do that turbulent ocean right there, Persian Gulf, Indian Ocean. Go ahead.
For through that country there was a way to go.
Through that country, around this country was a great way to go. Go ahead.
Namely, of a year and a half.
Uh-huh.
And the same region is called Arsareth.
Same region we know of today as America was called Arsareth. Arsareth. Go back to that book now. American Indians. So we start from Dr. Gordon believes. So we have come here. Start from there.
So we have come here, 12 men and 3 women, into, quote, island of iron.
That's so they call Brazil the island of iron. Go ahead.
Dr. Gordon believes the voyage began in 534 BC and ended in Brazil in 531 BC.
Go back. Go up to the next page, 171. Bring it up. Right there.
It is interesting to note the word for iron in most Semitic languages.
In most what?
In most Semitic languages.
Semitic languages. Go ahead.
Is barzel.
Barzel. Go ahead.
Which is a Hebrew word. Dr. Gordon then comments. We can, however, say that no country in the world merits the name Brazil, iron, more than Brazil, whose chief resource is still iron. Indeed, it is reported that 25% of the world's known iron reserves are in the Brazilian province of Minas Gerais.
Give me the prophecy of Asher, please. The prophecy of Asher. Ezekiel know what I want. Ezekiel know what I want?
Deuteronomy, Genesis 30.
Genesis 49. So why is Brazil called Brazil?
The book of Genesis, chapter 49 and verse 20.
Yep.
Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and shall yield royal dainties.
That isn't it. 33. Deuteronomy 33. That's good too. That's the resources also. That's what I want. 33.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33 and
24.
verse 24. And of Asher he said, let Asher be blessed with children. Let him be acceptable to his brethren. And let him dip his foot in oil.
Because Brazil is rich in oil. Watch this though.
Verse 25. Thy shoes shall be iron and brass.
What you walk on shall be of iron and brass. That is Brazil. That's what they were going to be in the last days. Go ahead.
They're known for good wood too. They're known because our companies will buy wood from Brazil.
And they would, right.
Yeah.
Iron and brass. Go ahead.
And as thy days, so shall thy strength be.
So their feet would be, their shoes would be iron and brass. They said, wow, Brazil. They did Brazil. Barazal, whatever. So now, let's go to, that's Asher. Can't knock it. Knock if you want to, be mad, whatever. We can care less. Believe it or not. Let's go to the, I want next. First Maccabees 1.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece.
The first king over Greece, that Daniel prophesied of in Daniel 8, verse 20 and 21. Go ahead.
And made many wars.
Against the dark nations. Go ahead.
And won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth. And went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
Go ahead.
And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive.
There's 4 generals. Go ahead. Which would be who? You had Ptolemy, Cassander, Lysimachus, and Seleucus. Right? Those are the 4. Go ahead.
So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
Stop right there. Let's go to Babylon Timbuktu. I want page 83. This is the book by Babylon Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor. Very good book. All right? Very good book. Especially regarding our history. Read that.
The North African black Jews.
So this is done with Israelites that resided eventually in North Africa. Keep that in mind. Go ahead.
In the year 331, that Alexander the Great defeated the Persian emperor Darius at the Battle of Gargamella.
Darius III. We just read that in 1 Maccabees 1:1. We just read that. Go ahead.
Incorrectly spelled Arbella. A new master emerged on the world stage and transformed the history and culture of 3 continents. However, Alexander died in the prime of his life at the age of 32 because of debauchery and intoxication.
Homosexuality and drunkenness. 32 because he was 20 years old. He died 12 years later, like Maccabees said, 12 years. He was 20 years old when he conquered. Vidi Vici. He came, he saw, he conquered. 12 years, he dropped dead from gayness. Continue.
Before the death of Alexander, his desire was to establish a Eurasian state. His scheme was to amalgamate.
That means to mix. It goes back to Assyria. Mix everyone together. A conglomerate of everybody together. Go ahead.
His scheme was to amalgamate the Greeks with the Asians.
Asians means the Easterns, the Orients, people of the East. That's we're East. We're from the Middle East. We're Asians, so to speak. Go ahead.
This was implemented by the widespread marriage of his troops with the colored women of the East.
Now you know why you have East Indians, light-skinned, Ethiopians, light-skinned, Arabs, light-skinned. You okay? That's why you have these light-skinned nations who got lighter because of the mixing with the Greeks. Arabs who became Turks, Islamic Turks, that's white people mixed with Arabs. Same thing, or Romans, same thing. Go ahead.
Most of his troops remained in the subjugated countries and became absorbed into the native population.
Mingle themselves. Go ahead.
After the death of Alexander.
That's all I want. That's all I want. Population. That's all I want. Now, let's go back to Maccabees again. Chapter 1, we're going to be verse 41.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
Same as the Assyrians. Go ahead.
And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the
Like it did
king.
in Assyria. Go ahead.
Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and to the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the law
And lose all sense of nationalism. Same exact thing being done again. Go ahead.
and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
It was done against our will. So that was a law against us, against our will. Now go back to page 83 again. Read after the death of Alexander. Right there is good. No, go back where you was at. You was just there. Right there. After the death of, read that.
After the death of Alexander, his vast empire was divided among his generals.
His 4 generals. Read that earlier. Go ahead.
Ptolemy received Egypt, and Seleucus received Asia.
Out of Seleucus came Antiochus. Go ahead.
As time elapsed, there was constant war between these two dynasties. By the year 198 BC, the descendants of General Seleucus had their capital in Syria, just north of Palestine. In this same year, the Seleucid dynasty in Syria compelled Egypt to give up Palestine, the land of the Jews. The king of Syria at this time was Antiochus III.
That's Antiochus the Great. Go ahead.
When Antiochus IV,
That's Epiphanes. Antiochus the Fourth is Epiphanes. God manifest on earth, the nutcase. This guy was a demon. Go ahead.
when Antiochus IV usurped the throne in Syria, 175 to 163 BC,
Yep.
he entertained the thought of uniting Alexander's empire. This meant the conquest of Egypt.
Conquering Ptolemy. Go ahead.
However, the province that bordered on Egypt was Palestine, which stood in his way.
Because it's right there. It was their neighbors. Go ahead.
At this time, the Jews would not accept Greek culture. Nevertheless, Antiochus was determined to Hellenize the
He was
Jews.
determined to assimilate us into Greek philosophy and culture. Go ahead.
The army of Antiochus marched into Palestine to support Menelaus, the leader of the pro-Syrian party. As a result, many Jews were killed. Others escaped to the hills and to Egypt. Only those Jews that supported Antiochus' policies remained in Jerusalem.
Those who got converted, who got assimilated into society, they stayed in Jerusalem. Go ahead.
An edict was promulgated
Interdicting.
interdicting the observance of the holidays, the Sabbath, and circumcision. A statue of Jupiter was erected in the holy.
Somebody say temple. Go to the next page. Go over. Go ahead.
The temple above the altar.
Right.
To this statue,
They set Jupiter up in the holy temple above the altar. Go ahead.
to this statue, the people brought the sacrifices of pig meat.
See what he told me to do? Offer sacrifices, and you eat sacrifices. So you have to eat and offer up pig meat, swine, which we now eat willfully. Go ahead.
The animal which is an abomination to the Jews.
That's all I want. Let's go to 2 Maccabees 4, verse 7.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 7. But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus called Epiphanes took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, labored underhand to be high priest, promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver.
So you have this guy named Jason, brother of a high priest named Onias, Levite. This guy was a straight up master of the coons. And he wanted to be the high priest, and he sold his soul among the souls of his own people to gain that position over his brother. Read again.
But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus called Epiphanes
The fourth, go ahead.
took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, labored underhand to be high priest,
Go ahead.
promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver, and of another revenue 80 talents. Beside this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise and for the training up of youth in the fashions of the heathen.
That's sports. Go ahead.
And to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians.
That'd be your Jets. That'd be your Bulls. That'd be your Wizards. That's what that is. Olympics winners. That's what that is. Go ahead.
Which when the king had granted and he gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion.
He hated himself and his own people too. Go ahead.
And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid, he took away. And putting down the governments which were according to the law, he brought up new customs against the law.
New customs or against the law. Greek customs were against our laws. Go ahead. He brought them up. Jason, go ahead.
For he built gladly a place of exercise,
A gym. Go ahead.
under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat.
The young men athletes and made them wear a hat. That hat would be what you see the Flash wear. That hat of Hermes. There's a hat, a flat cap, like a yarmulke with wings on the side. That's the hat. that they wore. Go ahead.
Now such was the height of Greek fashions and increase of heathenish manners.
So we begin to dress like the Greeks. We begin to behave and speak like the Greeks. That's the Greekish manners, heathenish manners. And follow their philosophies. The homosexuality came in. All of that came in. The pedophilia came in. All of that was introduced. Eating of pork came in. That's the heathenish fashions, heathenish manners. Go ahead.
Through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch and no high priest,
Go ahead.
that the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar,
Because they became what? Assimilated into heathen culture. Go ahead.
but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise, after the game of discus called them forth.
After the game of discus shown, it says called them forth. It said, so they would take, they'll be butt naked, take the big old disc and spin around in a circle and throw it as hard as they can. That's what they were doing back then, and they do it now. Discus. Go ahead.
Not setting by the honors of their fathers,
Forgetting their forefathers, King David, King Solomon, Hezekiah, the hell with Isaiah, the hell with them. Go ahead.
but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all,
Loving the white man more than anything else. Go ahead.
by reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers.
We were under the Greek rule for our sins. They were our enemies and avengers against us for breaking God's laws. But we begin to lose sight of that. Go ahead.
Whose custom they followed so earnestly,
Whose custom we begin to follow so earnestly, diligently. Go ahead.
and unto whom they desired to be like in all things.
We turned into white people. Spiritually, mentally, we turned into them. That's all. Whatever they say is truth. The Native Americans are Mongols, Mongoloids, ran straight. Yeah. The earth is flat. Yeah. The earth is billions of years old. Yeah. Where's the evidence? The white man said it. It's the same mind. It's the same slave mind. They're admiring them best of all. The assimilation, once again. Go back to, go to page 123 in Babylon Timbuktu. In the same folder.
Like the black Jews in America,
Like us now in America, go ahead.
some of the Jews of Guinea
Of Africa, go ahead.
don't remember their original nationality.
Go ahead.
This deplorable ignorance
This deplorable ignorance is a result of what?
is attributed to various causes.
Let's see what they are.
The fall of
Go ahead.
the fall of the Hebrew kingdom.
Southern and Northern Kingdom fell. That's one attribute.
2, the lack of communication with Jewish educational
We lost our
centers.
teachers.
3, intense persecution and the deliberate blotting out of the mind of their true nationality.
4. Read 3 again.
3, intense persecution and the deliberate blotting out of the mind of their true nationality.
And the deliberate blotting out of the mind, their true nationality, meaning they hide our identity from us, hid it from us, hidden ones. Go ahead.
Thus, Nahum
Sloats.
Sloats said this about the Islamized Jews he met. Quote, in most cases, these Hebrews by race and Muslim by faith seek to hide their origin.
So there are people who are Muslim in name but not in action. They were fake Muslims, but they converted to Islam to survive from being enslaved and being sold in slavery. So they were Muslim in name but not in their actions. Go ahead.
Which had become a burden to them. In another example, the persecution of the black Jews in Portugal,
Spanish Inquisition. Go ahead.
was so ruthless and frequent that Cecil Roth tells us the Jews did not divulge to their children the secret of their religion until they had attained the age of reason.
They told their kids what they were until they got older. They were scared. Go ahead. The Hebrew
religion is such that if you deny your religion,
our religion or our Bible, our laws, our commandments, if we deny them, go ahead.
You will eventually deny your nationality.
They go hand in hand. Our Bible is our nationality. If you remove that from us, we lose sight of who we are. That's what the Assyrians did. That's what Babylon did. That's what the Greeks did. Go ahead.
The sociologists and the psychologists know, and history has proven that if you deny your culture and nationality over a long period of time, you will totally forget it through a process of assimilation.
See that? That's what happened to Northern Kingdom. That's what happened to Southern Kingdom until present. That's why we're divided even to this day. We're divided. Now, what I want page 84. Right there under the first paragraph. It says pig meat laws because of this religious persecution. Yep, right there.
I see. Because of this religious persecution, the legitimate high priest, Onias III,
You read about him earlier. That's Jason's brother. Go ahead.
and many other Jews fled into African countries.
Where we fleeing to?
Into African countries such as Egypt,
Which is close by.
Ethiopia, Cyrenaica, Libya. Throughout the last 2,500 years, the main factors that have contributed to the social migration of the Jews were wars, religious persecution, and commerce.
Business. Go ahead.
All these factors were operating and gave rise to the African Jewish population.
That's how a majority of us end up in Africa. Through these factors. Persecution, war, and business. Let's go to what I want. Page 106, Psalms 106, Psalms 106, verse 34. So through the Greeks, we began to assimilate, and we lost sight of our culture and our nationality in the process. That's why Paul called us Greeks and Gentiles in the New Testament.
The book of Psalms, chapter 106 and verse 34. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them,
During Moses' time. Go ahead.
but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them.
So it says we mingled ourselves among the heathen and learned their works. That's the process of assimilation. Eating the pork, playing the sports, becoming Assyrians, falling behind the cultural melting pot. It's the same exact thing. Envying the oppressor and choosing his ways. That's what we did. Let's go to Babylon Timbuktu again, page 28. So remember that page was about North African Jews. Remember that? It said on top of the page. Page 28, North African Jews. That's why it's a possibility why we called ourselves Sidonian Canaanites in that passage, in that inscription, because Israel was simple as hell. 28.
The Phoenicians spoke a Hamitic Semitic language, so closely allied to the Hebrew that the Phoenician and Hebrew, through different dialects, may practically be regarded as the same language.
So the languages they spoke were similar, but there was different dialects. So they could tell the difference between Hamitic and Semitic. That's how we know that the people that wrote in Brazil, that was Semitic. That was not Hamitic. It was not a mixture of both. It was pure Semitic. Go down. Down there, highlight part right there, the Phoenicians.
The Phoenicians established a colony in North Africa
because when Israel conquered the promised land, Canaan, we pushed them out of Tyre and Sidon. We pushed them out of there. Read it again.
The Phoenicians established a colony in North Africa called Carthage. And they, the Carthaginians, also considered themselves, always considered themselves Canaanites.
Because they were, originally. Go down.
These Canaanites or Africans were driven out of the land of Canaan by Joshua.
See? That's how they ended up in Africa. We pushed them out. That's all I want. I want you to get page, let's see, 28. Get 29.
The city of Carthage was called, quote, the Queen of the Sea. The Carthaginians controlled the commerce in the Mediterranean Sea.
Remember David and Solomon dealt with Hiram. They dealt with they did trade and business. And that continued. Go ahead.
A new nation emerged in the peninsula of Italy.
I'm sorry, they did business when they were actually in their land. Or when they were actually in their land. And then when they moved out of Tyre and Sidon, when they were forced out, That's when they ended up doing the same thing in Africa, same thing, North Africa. Go ahead.
A new nation emerged in the peninsula of Italy, Rome, which challenged the commercial interest and supremacy of Carthage in the Mediterranean. This state of hostility led to the 3 long wars called the Punic Wars. The first Punic War was in the years 264 to 241 BC.
That's those 3 of them. That's the first one. Took place during that time. Go ahead.
Mostly naval battles, which Italy won.
Go ahead.
The second
So
Punic
Rome won wars on the sea. Rome won the wars on the sea, but we won the land wars. The wars on land, we won most. Go ahead.
The second Punic War was fought in the years 218 to 201 BC.
17 years. Go ahead.
A black general by the name of Hannibal was the extraordinary figure who did what was considered the impossible by crossing the Alps with elephants. In Italy, he was victorious over the Romans. He was very resourceful and crafty. When he got into a...
Go up. Next page. What page is this? Go down. Should we go down? Should be more? Is there more than that? What page is this? Page... Go to page 107 then.
I got the rest of it.
I'm not sure if I want that though. Let me see. Let me go back. Yeah, 107 is good. 107 is fine. It goes into more about that anyway. 107, I want the highlighted parts. All the highlights. Go over to the right. Yeah, it's going to say the same thing again. That's why I skipped it. The Phoenicians.
The Phoenicians established their metropolis, Carthage, in the 9th century BC. During the wars of the Maccabees,
Here we go.
thousands of Hebrews became slaves and exiles. Ptolemy Letharius captured 10,000 slaves from the region of the Sea of Galilee.
The kings of Egypt.
During the Punic Wars,
No, the kings of Egypt. I want the kings of Egypt.
the kings of Egypt, Psamatich I and Psamatich II used Israelite garrisons on the Egyptian borders near Libya.
I mean, we fled there too. Cyrenaica. Go ahead.
The wars with Rome compelled hundreds of thousands more to escape into North Africa.
So the wars with Rome compelled more of us to flee into areas of North Africa where Israel was. Read that right there. During Punic Wars?
During the Punic Wars and after, North Africa contained a large Hebrew population. This Hebrew population made converts and intermarried with the Canaanites and the native Africans.
See what Israel does? See what Israel always ends up doing? We became the main population of Carthage, and so we in turn became Carthaginians. We basically became the majority, and the Canaanites, the Sidonians that were there, became the minority. They began to call us Phoenicians, or they called us Sidonians, or they called us Phoenicians. You understand? Phoenician is a Latin term for Canaanites. That's what it means. So palm, land of palm, or something like that, palm or whatever. Read that, city and language of Hannibal. Read that.
The city and language of Hannibal. At the ruins of Carthage, archaeologists have found about 4,000 inscriptions in the ancient language of Canaan. Nahum Slouts says these inscriptions date from
the time of
the time of Nehemiah.
So that's during the time of Persian captivity?
Of Simon the Just.
Simon the Just was the father of Onias. That's Greek captivity.
Of Hannibal and Hasdrubal.
I think that's his brother. That's Rome. When Rome started to rise. Let me see what I want from there. The population. Jump down there. No, jump to it says, and we Hebrew writers. Go to population. Go to population. That's too much. That's a waste of time. Population.
The population of Carthage was derived from Palestine, and its civilization was Hebraic in origin.
Go ahead.
Slouts is certain, after much research, that the language Hannibal spoke and in which he directed his troops was Hebrew.
Go ahead.
There is evidence that the Carthaginians possessed a high priesthood.
See what we became? The Carthaginians. Remember, the original ones were Canaanites. Now we're called Carthaginians. Possessed they what?
There is evidence that the Carthaginians possessed a high priesthood, and their ceremonies and sacrifices were similar to the rituals found in the book of Leviticus.
Go ahead.
According to some inscriptions, the Hebrew tribes of Asher and Zebulun were in Carthage from the foundation of the city.
There you go. That's who was there. That's who was from the very beginning of the city. So when Ham went over there, Asher and Zebulun went and ran over there along with him. Go ahead.
At the ruins of Carthage were excavated many inscriptions containing many Hebrew names, such as Joab, Joas, and Joel.
The city of Tunis. Read that.
The city of Tunis is said to be neither Arab nor European. Tunis is a Jewish city. Nowhere else does the Jew feel at home as he does in Tunis.
Tunis is called Tunisia today. That's North Africa, right on the top. It's called Tunisia today. Go ahead.
Slouch says so beautifully, and indeed, Tunis, the inheritor of Hebrew Carthage, is the eternal city of the Jews.
That's all I want. So that's what Israel always ran to. When there was persecution, they would run right to Tunis. We always ran there. And over time, when the Arabs came, we began to be pushed out. We began to migrate further south into the western regions to hide, which didn't help. Page 109, at this time. Go there. Go over. 109. Since they at this time.
At this time in the land of
We're
Spain.
going to stop at Tariq. Go ahead.
At this time in the land of Spain, the black Jews were persecuted, and many had fled to Morocco for refuge. As a result of this persecution, the Jews of Morocco and the Moors planned to invade Spain with the assistance of Spanish Jews. Early in the 8th century, the Mohammedans from Morocco united with the black Jews.
The Israelite Muslims from Morocco and the Jews who were in Judaism joined together. Go ahead. Try to. Go ahead.
The first one to set foot on the soil of Spain was General Tarif.
The first one to set foot on the soil of Spain when they finally got into Spain was General Tarif. Go ahead.
A Jew of the tribe of Simeon.
He was Simeon. Go ahead.
After whom the island of Tarifa,
It's still named that today.
opposite Tangiers, was named.
Now, Tariq was the general under a man named Tariq. Tariq ibn Zayad. He was under him. Those two conquered together. I'm not sure what Tariq was, but he was the main leader. Tariq was under him. But they both named these areas after themselves. We don't. However, the Rock of Gibraltar. Read that part.
However, the Rock of Gibraltar, previously known as the Pillars of Hercules, received its new name from the great Moorish conqueror Gebel al-Tariq.
That's the leader. Go ahead.
Which means the mountain of Tariq.
Right. So Tariq was the main leader. And Tarif, Simeonite, was under him as a general. You understand these two? So he might have been Israel. Most likely he was Israel also. But mostly Israelite Moors came together, whether Islamic, Judaic, or Christian, all came together to overthrow Edom in Spain. This was in 711 AD. And we ruled over it for 700 years. So you had a bunch of Spanish women up in Spain, and Jate men up in there, and hordes going up in there. Everything was going on. We having tea and eating crumpets and having crackers. No, it was laying with the women over there. Get page 55 of J. Rogers' book. Yeah. No color line. Nature Knows a Color Line book. On page 55, it's going to repeat this exact same history again, but he gives a more detailed description. Page 55. Yep. Read that.
Chapter 5. Racial intermixture in Spain and Portugal.
Remember, this is the Middle Ages. I'm giving y'all Middle Ages history now. This is kind of outside the Bible a little. So I'm going to try to stay within the range of common knowledge of Middle Ages. So no one goes, I got a book that says something different. This is all common stuff. Read that.
While white Vandals were pouring into Africa in the 4th and 5th centuries,
Edomite barbarians. Go ahead.
Africans continued to arrive in southern Europe, chiefly as slaves. But in 711 AD, they came in as conquerors.
We took over. Go ahead.
Crossing into Spain, they captured Gibraltar.
We read earlier about El Tariq and El Tarif. Tarif and Tariq. Go ahead.
And defeated the Goths.
More Edomites. Go ahead.
White Germanic invaders of 3 centuries earlier. Their commander, Tariq, a Negro,
there you go,
gave his name to Gibraltar, formerly Calpe.
So he was Jake. Tariq. Was Jake also. Go ahead.
These Africans were Moors, sometimes called Arabs, because of their language. To the earlier Greeks, the Moors were, quote, a black or dark people. moros, and to the Romans, moros,
So the Greeks called us moros. The Romans called us mortis. Go ahead.
a black, woolly-haired people, known synonymously as Ethiops.
Black-faced. Nigger.
Nigger,
That's what that's pronounced correctly. Go ahead.
nigger, Negro,
Uh-huh.
and African,
Because the Romans called the place Afra. It's a Latin word. African. Go ahead.
even as late as the 5th century A.D.
Procopius.
Roman historian, called the people of Morocco black.
Because Jake fled there. Read that earlier. Go down. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. What do I want from there? Stop at black. That's it. Let's go to Babylon again, page 109. Go back to that book again. Babylon Timbuktu, 109 and once again. Go down to the bottom of the paragraph. Go down to the bottom. Right there. Here is vivid account. Right there. Stop right there.
Here is a vivid account of the conquering Moors.
We're going to stop at when it says, yes, read the whole thing.
Here is a vivid account of the conquering Moors described by a writer who sympathized with Christian Spain.
Uh-huh.
The reins of their horses were as fire.
Uh-huh.
Their faces black as pitch.
Uh-huh.
Their eyes shone like burning candles.
Doesn't that sound familiar? What that sound like? That's exactly what that sounds like. That's how the Moors looked. Go ahead.
Their horses were swift as leopards, and the riders fiercer than a wolf in the sheepfold at night.
This is an Edomite's description, by the way. He's saying that our eyes were shown like burning candles and our skin was black as pitch. Burnt in the furnace. Same exact thing. Go ahead.
The noble Goths were broken in an hour,
We broke them when we got over there. Go ahead.
quicker than tongue can tell. O luckless Spain.
Oh, y'all lost to these black folks. Y'all lost. Go back to Babylon again. Let me go back to Nature Knows the Color Line again, the Color Line book again. Go down. Right, stop, slow on. Go to in fact, the bottom of the paragraph. In fact, if one goes by the description.
In fact, if one goes by the description of white writers and painters,
We just read one, the White Rider. Watch what he says.
the Moorish invaders were, on the whole, very black.
Very black. So there's no, this is called cross-referencing. I ain't going to use the one, but I'll use many books to say the same exact thing over and over again to reinforce what's being brought out. Go to page 115 in Babylon again. No, I want that. Yeah, page 115 in Babylon. Page 115. Right there, in order to satisfy. Now, bring out some history. During this time in 422, the last stronghold of the Moors was conquered. We were pushed out of Spain into an area called Grenada. The King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella conquered us. The last stronghold of Spain in 422, and they began to expel us. They began to expel many of us. Those who they wanted to keep around, they had to accept the white Jesus. They had to accept Christianity. That was the Inquisition, means the Spanish judgment. The judgment was kick all the Jews or Moors out who will not accept white Jesus. So many of us who chose to flee from that Inquisition in Spain, we tried to flee into Portugal instead, because it was right there. But the Portuguese king, being Edomites, cool with the Spanish king, said, I'm going to do what you guys are doing and kick them out my land as well. Read in order.
In order to satisfy Queen Isabella of Spain, King Manuel of Portugal promulgated a royal decree expelling the Jews and Moors from his country in 1496.
4 years later. Go ahead.
The Jews who were
Go over.
The Jews who were expelled from Spain and Portugal was scattered throughout the Mediterranean coast.
Scattered throughout the Mediterranean coast. Go ahead.
It is estimated that over 100,000 Jews departed from Spain and Portugal during the persecutions and the expulsion. Some of the Jews went to Northern Europe, Italy, and Turkey, but most of them went to Muslim countries of Northern and Western Africa.
Here we went back to Tunis again. Northern and Western Africa. Go ahead.
These black Jews would naturally go to African countries, most of all.
Why?
Because of less persecution, and they could disguise themselves easily among blacks.
That's why they went there. Go ahead. RHM.
R.H.M. Elwes gives a graphic description of the Portuguese Jew, Baruch Spinoza. A middle-sized, good features, skin somewhat black.
Stop. See what he says there? Skin somewhat black. What does that mean? But what does it mean when it says skin somewhat black? What is it saying somewhat? Who get raise your hand? Don't call out. It says skin somewhat black means what? Someone said it. Just raise your hand. We can pass it to him.
Meaning that they mixed when they went back into
What
Africa.
does somewhat mean? So what's somewhat mean? What's it saying? What's somewhat saying?
That you couldn't really tell where you was from, which
Go over. MSI, go ahead, MSI.
They was light skinned.
They got lighter. Not as dark as before. Remember it said black is cold. Remember that? Dark is night. They're saying somewhat black. Brown. Because they vary, because they start to mingle themselves. Remember, 700 years in Portugal, Spain, among the white folks. You're going to have admixture. You're going to have it. Read again. Middle size, good features.
All right.
No, middle size.
Middle size, good features. Skin somewhat black. Black curly hair.
Kept that.
Long eyebrows of the same color, so that one might know by his looks that he was a descendant from Portuguese Jews.
Go ahead, keep going.
When the Jews were expelled from Spain, about 100,000 entered Portugal. They were permitted to enter under the condition that they would pay the poll tax.
So when we were kicked out of Spain, entering into Portugal, we were allowed to live there if we paid a certain tax. So read again.
When the Jews were expelled from Spain, about 100,000 entered Portugal.
Many of us, if we fled into Portugal instead, go ahead.
They were permitted to enter under the condition that they would pay the poll tax.
So they were allowed to enter into Portugal if they paid a certain tax. Go ahead.
With the understanding that they would leave the country within 8 months.
So they can stay, but they had to stay within 8 months and then leave from there. They had an 8-month limit to stay in Portugal. Go ahead.
Also, at this time, the king obligated himself to take the Jews wherever they desired at the termination of the 8 months.
That was the deal. Okay, you guys can go. If you want to go after 8 months, I'll send you. If you pay your poll tax, I'll send you wherever you want to go. By ship. Go ahead.
When the time expired, many Jews were stranded because the king did not provide enough ships in time.
In time of the 8 months. See how grimy Esau is? Go ahead.
All the black Jews who were left behind were deprived of their freedom and sold into slavery.
See what happened? Many of the first, that's why it says in that book, before the Mayflower, the first slave ships came from Europe. Not Africa, Europe. And the money that funded this slavery, the slave money here, went into Columbus's voyage to conquer us on this side of the world. They tie together. Yeah, get it like that. Do it y'all side, we ain't got much time.
Then just a quick reference that now that you mentioned Christopher Columbus, at that same time, you notice it was 1496.
Right.
Christopher Columbus had just returned from the Dutch, which are Amalek. There was Amalek up there as well. He was looking for support to insure his ships, and that's how they were making a lot of money as well. So when he was going across, he was just making negotiations.
Right, the trading. Right, they start the trade. They start the trade of the Atlantic slave. The Atlantic slave trade started with him.
Right.
The Dutch East India Company and all that stuff, they all tied together, all linked together. One happy slave-owning family. Page 117. Right there. I want where it says Leo Africanus, to the very bottom, It's highlighted already. Right there. Watch this. Remember it says somewhat black. I'm going to prove it. Right there.
Leo Africanus, a Moorish converted Jew, states that the Jews of North Africa are a hybrid quality.
Are of a hybrid quality. I mean, they've different features. Go ahead.
They have proselytized and intermarried among the Greeks.
They did what?
They have proselytized and intermarried among the Greeks.
They mixed among the Greeks.
Vandals.
Barbarian Edomites.
Romans. Spaniards. And Portuguese.
I thought they became somewhat black. These are all Edomites here. All 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go ahead. Speckelberg, go to Jeremiah 12 and 9. Jeremiah 12 and 9. Deacon Malachi spoiled it earlier, but I'm going to read it now. I'm going to give y'all some examples, quick examples.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 12 and verse 9. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour.
My heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. Give me images of speckled bird, please. This Google speckled bird. Type in speckled bird in Google. Let's see what we get. My heritage, my people, is unto me as a speckled bird. Well, I don't know if the Most High called us a speckled bird. Look at this bird here. Blow it up. Look at this bird. These are all speckled birds. You got one that has brown skin, specks of white on him. You got one right there. He's brown with specks of green. One right there with the brown with specks of white. Another one, a green one with specks of green. These are speckled birds. These are birds of one primary color and different shades within it. Now go to speckled, please. I got to use the strong because Christians are using that now. Go to blue letter, please. Another language, I got to be deep now. I just do it the English. I got to be deep. There we go. I can't pronounce that. Sabois, whatever. It says, this is a Hebrew word for speckled. It says colored, variegated, speckled. Look up variegated, please, in English. Variegated. V-A-R-I-E, gated. G-A-T-E-D. Let's see what it says. Go down. Variegated, exhibiting different colors, especially as irregular patches or streaks. Let's go down. It says many colored, many hued, polychromatic, very colored, colorful, prismatic, rainbow, kaleidoscope. Go down, translations, click that. So give some more. Marked by variety, diverse, made varied. So Israel is a multicolored bird of different shades, which goes right to that precept, cake unturned. Some are dark on one side, some are lighter than others. Like them speckled birds. You have some light ones, you have some dark ones with specks of different colors. You understand? Israel is as a speckled bird. That's referring to the entire nation. My heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. All Israel is conquered. So we are speckled. We're different colors and shades now. Variegated. Go to page 129 in Babylon Timbuktu. Yeah. So during the Inquisition, when many of us fled from the Christianity, the forced Christianity conversion, many of us fled to different lands, and they sent Christianity cops against us, after us. Y'all laughing? Watch. I'm gonna show you. Page 129. The Inquisition even dispatched its inquisitorial agents.
The Inquisition even dispatched its inquisitorial agents to the Canary Islands.
That's where Israel fled to. Go ahead.
Madeira, Guinea.
That's where Israel was.
India.
We fled there.
South America.
We went over there.
San Tome.
We went there.
And Angola, in order to search out secret Jews.
Because our people said, we're Christians. We accept white Jesus now. We will flee and go somewhere else and keep Judaism. So they would send people to make sure wherever we fled to, we were keeping white Jesus. Go ahead.
From 1561 to 1623, about 3,800 individuals were tried. Many of them were Christian Jews of San Tome Island. They were charged with maintaining Jewish principles.
See? Go ahead.
Cecil Roth wrote that the Christian Jews immigrated to the Portuguese colony of Angola in West Africa, where agents of the Inquisition were sent to hunt them out in 1626.
Madness. Now get my pictures. Go to my pictures. I'm going to show you variegated. Go to my pictures. There's a movie that came out. There was two versions. You had a movie called Imitation of Life. Yeah, 1934 version, 1960 version. Her sister's name is Freddie Washington. This is a black woman. Freddie Washington. Go to the next image. That's her again. Freddie Washington. She said, I am black. I'm proud to be black. I don't hide it. I am proud to be black, she says. Both my parents is black. I'm proud. And she married a black man as well. She was heavily into her culture. She accepted it. Both her parents had European ancestry in them somewhere, she said, but she was black. Look at that right there. You never know a difference. Night and day. And that's 2 black women. Speckled bird. Go back. That's Freddie Washington. Go to pop star. Pop star parents. This is a pop star's parents. That's father and mother. That's a Jake man, obviously. Deny that, you retarded. It's a Jake man. And that's an Edomite woman right there. Go to the next image. That's the child right there. That's the father there. That's the wife there. That's the child right there. See? That's him younger. Go out. That's them when she was first born. That's her. I'm giving you a whole timeline. That's them younger, and that's them holding her, right? Go to the next one. That's them. That's him holding her right there. That's his daughter. It's a pop star named Halsey. She says that she's bipolar and she's bisexual. Mixed nuts. I'm telling you. That's her right now. That's her. Go to the next picture I have of her. You saw her father. Go to the next picture. That's her again. Go to the next picture. Not judged by appearance. Go to the next picture. Come on, man. Look at this. You saw her father. That's a black woman. Blue hair. You know, she's gone. Blue hair. I mean, she's finished. You know my thing. When I see blue hair, you just done. Speckled. Benjamin crazy. Speckled bird. I'm sorry. I love y'all, man. I love y'all. They crazy. Go to go to the next image. Go to what else I have? Logic. Who else I have? Go to London. London. Go to that one. These all black Israelites. They saw her, they lose their mind. She said, I like you. They lose it. And she went, this girl here. Laura London. She's in the movie ATL. Sister, right? Go to the next one. Don't call, hey, those of you who know what this is, don't be calling out. Yeah, I know who that is. Shut up. Spoiling stuff. Damn. Jake, I'm out. Jake is messing things up, man. Go to the next one. Go to her parents. Those are her parents. Blow it up, please. That's daddy. I'm like daddy. And mommy on the right. That's not Jake at all. Come on out. So if you have heathens passing as Jake, you're gonna have Jake's what? Passing as heathens. This is common sense. It's not there with Israel. With Israelites, it's not there. Uh-oh, Ashley. And her, well, it says he's a black man. That's kind of hard to believe. Ashley. What's Ashley's nationality? Who knows? She's Elam. That's a Persian woman. A Tatiana Ali. A Persian woman. Father's East Indian Muslim from Trinidad. Go out. Sorry. Those of y'all got crushed on that. Got that a loss. Go to sister. Brothers is like, go to sister. Remember that show, sister, the twins? Yeah, remember them? And they got brother smart guy, their brother. Go to the parents. Look at their face. Remember the face. See their smile? Remember their smile? Go to the father now. There goes daddy. Dear old dad. Same face.
Right. Just dark skin.
Dear old, look at the face. That's the same face.
That's right. Same everything.
Y'all play games. Y'all play games.
Meaning that they have a ticket to this kingdom, the next kingdom to come.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Sorry, sister. You got to go
they
there.
married Esau, so they good to go. They married Edomite men, they good to go. And married their own kind. Excellent. One married Jake. One married Jake. She did. So their children have a chance, but mommy is, she done. Single file to the slave line. Go over, single file, slave line. X that out, go to, what else I have? Strahan, go to Michael Strahan. You know, he's cool. He's like the coon king. Look at his daughter. Look at his daughter. Daughters. Yo, you cannot now go to the next picture. That's his son in the back. Look at his daughters though. Never mind him. Look at his daughters. Go to the next picture. Wow. You would never think those are his kids. Those are black women.
Yeah, he's boy almost out of there. Look at the tie, Gene. Look at that dude out of there.
X out. I'm running on time. X out, X out. What else I got? What else I got over there? Oh, go to the boy, the college boy. Go to college boy. Yeah. Go to college boy. College boy. See the college boy? Don't call out. See a college boy right there? Look like Jan, right? Look like Jan with a bigger fro, right? It's a black boy going to Yale, right? Some of y'all know that is. Who knows who that is? Don't call out. Who knows who that is? Who doesn't know who that is? Who don't know who that is? Who doesn't know who that is? So black boy going to Harvard, right? You see that's a black boy going to Harvard. Black boy going to Harvard. Go and see what his father. Let's just go to see what his father is. Go to family. Ah, Mayor de Blasio. Oh, snap. Woo! That's his sister and that's his mama on the right. You never know. The nose, the lips full, hair woolly, still devil.
Hey, and the thing about it, Deacon Aiton, is that these Israelites, they gonna accept him, right?
They'll accept him.
They're gonna say he Israel.
Yeah, they'll
You know,
accept that.
if they don't know who his father, they're gonna be like, yeah, he Israel.
Yeah, they'll do it.
You know.
Go to Les Nubians. Go to them. Les Nubians. It's a pop soul group where they were. It's two sisters. Now, come on, that's Jake right there all the way. You can't deny that. They go in their African garb. For you Israelites out there, see, they accept their African culture, right? Go over. Come on now, Afro and everything. Dark skin. They dark. Wide nose, lips, everything. Go over. Go next one. Next picture, they're older. She got locks. Look at that. A French father. They call themselves Afropeans. French father. And Cameroonian mother. Cameroon mother, French father. Not Jake. Those y'all got a crush. Single file line to the slave line.
Like Bishop said, those are have.
Yeah, it's tails of tares. These are tares. When we slept, the devil came in and dropped them tares. What I got next? Ball player. Oh my God, I got that. Don't call out. That's a black man. Black father.
He's a black father?
Black father. Blake Griffin. Go over next one. Is he? Oh, he's Levi. Okay, Levi. Boom. He got a pen, but he's Levi. Oh, there you go. You got some pale amongst y'all. Pale. Behold the pale horse.
Listen,
or pale
man.
Levi horse.
Listen. He ain't coming around me with that looking like that, man.
Well, go to Sidney Poitier. Click him. We must all look like him to be Jake. We must all be him to be Jake. Sidney Poitier. Let's see how his daughter looks. Sidney Poitier, his daughter, Sidney Poitier. I guess she failed the test. Her hair is fine and her skin is lighter. I guess she ain't Jake. Go to the next one. Go to what I want. The other one I call up. What you call it before? Cash Warren. This is Cash Warren. I want that. This is what's her name's husband? What's the actress's name? She was in Fantastic Four. Jessica Alba. This is her husband. So they would say, see, he's a gook. He's Hispanic. They're not Israel. He's Hispanic because he look like he's Hispanic. Go out. Go to his father, please. Go to the other. Go to the image right there. The next one. No, not they're right there. That's daddy. Go to the next. Go to the first image. That's him older. Go to the first image. Them side by side. When he's younger. That's his father younger.
Yeah, he's in the
You can
third
see
world.
as his dad. His eyes, the same exact eyes. It's just the nose and stuff is different. Yeah. That's his father. Fro and all. Go to the last dragon, please. You know him. Got the glow. We got the glow. The last dragon. Tamik Gilirano. Whatever, man. I remember him. Barry Gordy, man. I'm the master. No, you the slave. His father's Italian. So sure enough, really was the master, because he's Jake. He gets to fail. What else I got? Jennifer, go to her. Remember the movie Flashdance, old movie? Click that first. You've seen Book of Eli. She's the blind woman. The blind sister. Black father, Irish mother. That's Jake. Go to the next image. That's her younger, this is her older. She's in Book of Eli. She was lecturer's or whatever her name, mother. The blind woman, that's her. You can see her right there clearer. That's a black woman. That's all I want. No, calm down, brothers. Calm down. Brother said, whoa, snap.
See, I claim they're in the kingdom.
Yeah.
You ain't claiming nothing now.
Go to
In the kingdom, she not gonna look like that. She gonna show her if she.
They're gonna change up.
They gonna change. This is gonna change. They're not gonna look like that. Ain't
Right.
gonna be no weave,
No more speckles.
none
No
of
more
that
speckles.
crap, man.
Yeah,
Go
because,
to
because brother wanna follow after their lust, and the kingdom ain't gonna be nothing.
Right.
Just gonna be.
go to more white. Go to my articles. I'm just gonna touch them real fast. More whites dying. That's exactly what it says. I'm not being mean. Yep, that's what I want. Read what it says. Europe needs many more babies to avert a population disaster. Quiet down, pay attention. Europe needs many more babies to avert a population disaster, right? Because the doctrine is that the white man came to the Americas and raped all Native American women, right? We call that and made all these white babies. Scroll down, please. There's a depopulation of whites. They're basically dying off. They're not producing enough for themselves. It says Spain has one of the lowest fertility rates in the EU, with an average of 1.27 children born every woman of childbearing age. They have the lowest fertility rate. This is referring to the men, the males. They call them Western men. So the Spaniards have a low fertility rate. So how are they super penis in the 1400s? And yet they're weak as hell now. The Most High says nothing new under the sun. If they had weak fertility now, they had weak fertility then. Like, for example, when Israel was in Egypt, we were being afflicted. The more they hurt us, the more we had kids. They gave us crack, dope, heroin, cocaine. We still had babies, crack babies and all. Grew up just fine. Spermicide in the soda, still had babies. Trust me, I know. I drank them on purpose. I hate the kids. They don't work. It don't work. So I'm telling you that, I'm telling you, that's in the world. In the world, I hate the kids. But I'm just being honest. In the world, we drank them on purpose. And it didn't work. But I'm showing you that Edom, Esau, they have low fertility. Spain, particular. Portugal as well, low fertility. Go down. Italy as well, low fertility. Ukraine, low fertility. All these people conquered the Native Americans. Portugal, Italy, Spain, they conquered them. Germany also, and they have low fertility. So how are they able to go through all these countries where everyone was mostly dark natives and just mingle them all around? It's a lie. That's what it is. You go to, I have three articles. You have the Time Magazine one. This is, what's this one? The Guardian, and you have Daily Mail. It's called America's Dying Whites, the dailymail.com, saying the exact same thing. How old is this article? Go up. How old is this article? What year? What's the year it's dated? 2016, I think it says. Right there. 2015. This one's 2016, one's 2017. So it's recent. Go to Blanqueamiento, Wikipedia. This is when Esau decided, okay, there's too many blacks in the Central and South Americas. We're going to send some whites up in there and white them up. Fail. Read that.
Blanqueamiento or whitening is a social, political, and economic practice used in many post-colonial countries to, quote, improve the race towards a supposed ideal of whiteness. The term blanqueamiento is rooted in Latin America and is used more or less synonymous with racial whitening.
Go down to go down to the next thing. Go down. That definition, I don't want that. Go down. Nope, that's Mustard, that's the mixture. National policy right there. Brazil, read Brazil. Now, the largest bulk of slaves are brought to where? Brazil, right? Watch what it says here.
Brazil. Blanqueamiento in Portuguese was circulated in national policy throughout Brazil in the late 19th and early 20th century.
Remember, the Portuguese have low fertility rates. That's listed, as well as Spain. Go ahead.
blanqueamiento policies emerged in the aftermath of the abolition era and in the beginning of Brazil's first republic from 1888 to 1889 in order to dissolve the black race.
Because there was a majority, 80% black over there. Go ahead.
Brazil executed public measures to increase European immigration, where more than 1 million Europeans arrived in Sao Paulo between 1890 and 1914.
Now, what's 1 million versus double, triple that? Go ahead.
The state and federal government funded and subsidized immigrant travels, where immigrants arrived from Portugal, Spain, Italy, Russia, Germany, Austria, France, and the Netherlands.
All low fertility people. Go ahead.
Claims that white blood would eventually eliminate black blood were found in accounts of immigration statistics.
Watch this.
Created in the late 19th century, Brazil's Directoria Geral de
their census. Go ahead.
Has conducted demographic censuses and managed to measure the progress of whitening as successful in Brazil.
So they said they were successful in whitening Brazil, right? Go down to Cuba. Now, there's more blacks in Brazil than there is in Cuba. I'll tell you that right now. Way more. Way, way more. Watch this.
Cuba. At the beginning of the 20th century, the Cuban government created immigration laws that invested more than 1 million into recruiting Europeans into Cuba in order to whiten the state. High participation of blacks in independence movements threatened white elitist power, and when the 1899 census showed that more than 1/3 of Cuba's population was colored.
More than a third. Go ahead.
White migration started to gain support. Political blanqueamiento began in 1902 after the U.S. occupation, where migration of, quote, undesirables, blacks, became prohibited in Cuba.
They don't want us going in no more. Go ahead.
Immigration policies supported the migration of entire families. Between 1902 and 1907, nearly 128,000 Spaniards entered Cuba. And officially in 1906,
This is like 100 years ago. It's not long ago. Go ahead.
Cuba created its migration law that funded
immigration law that funded white migrants. Go ahead.
That funded white migrants. However, many European immigrants did not stay in Cuba and came solely for the sugar harvest, returning to their homes during the off seasons. Although some 780,000 Spaniards migrated between 1902 and 1931, only 250,000 stayed. By the 1920s, blanqueamiento through national policy had effectively failed.
Now, there was less blacks in Cuba, and that failed, but there's more in blacks in Brazil, and that's successful? No. That answer is that's a lie once again. And remember, they brought these Edomites brought their daughters, you know. They didn't come as men. They brought their families too. And the men got them women. I assure you, Brazilian men got the women over there also. Let's go to, real quick, you think it's strange that that one. You think it's strange article I sent you. You got it up? I want that one right there. Now, this is a excerpt from a book. She says, you think it's strange that I can love an Indian, Native men, white women, and marriage in the Indian service. Now, remember last time I taught, I went into how you had HSBCUs, what do you call them? HBCUs, where you had Hampton University and Carlisle Institute, which were made as boarding schools to white or assimilate whites and blacks and Native Americans into white culture. Y'all remember that? Now go down and watch this. You had white kids in the school along with them because the white people saw no threat. Well, if you're teaching blacks and Indians to be white, there shouldn't be a problem with them going to school with whites. Watch what happened. Go down. Read that quote.
You think it's strange that I can love an Indian.
It's a white woman, Kathleen D. Cahill. Watch this. Native men, read that part.
Native men, white women, and marriage in the Indian service.
Watch this. I'm going to show you where the lie comes from that. The white man conquered and took and married all the Native American women, and no Native men messed with their women. Watch where the lie comes from. Watch.
The history of intermarriage between whites and American Indians is a half-told tale.
See? It's a half-told tale. They tell you how the whites married the Native women, but don't tell you vice versa, Native men and white women. Go ahead.
scholars have produced an impressive body of work on the political and economic benefits that occurred from pairings between white men and Native women.
They tell you that. Go ahead.
But the literature on relationships between Native men and white women remains sparse.
Remains hard to find. Why?
Studies focusing on unions between white men and Native women are often situated on frontiers where whites accepted the relationships, if sometimes grudgingly, particularly when the couples remain outside of white society.
Because they remained amongst white society, they would kill the parents and the child. Go ahead.
Relationships between white women and Indian men, by contrast, were more deeply interwoven into the fabric of white society.
Meaning hidden. Watch this.
Because of white women's symbolic importance as the moral center of American civilization.
Damn. Because of white woman's symbolic importance as the moral center of American civilization. Meaning she is the forefront of morality, loyalty, purity, staying to her own people. That's the white woman's upheld as. But they hide the fact that she was out there laying with the black buck and the savage Indian. They hide that. Go ahead.
Through their marriages, Native husbands became, quote, Indians in unexpected places, in the homes of white women and therefore in the bosom of white society. Such relationships also stand in striking contrast to the contemporaneous violence perpetuated against black men in the American South over the smallest threat that they might cross the sexual color line.
Go ahead. You hear about how black folks got in trouble or killed for messing with white women. But they hide the fact that Native American men were messing with white women also. They hide that. Go ahead.
The few historians who have considered intermarriage between Native men and white women have noted that the late 19th century theories of assimilation contributed to these relationships.
The late 19th century theories of assimilation contributed to these relationships. Watch this.
Margaret Jacobs has used a comparison of two interracial marriages to establish an important framework for understanding the shifts in America's racial ideologies at the turn of the century.
Go ahead.
Although Jacobs' evidence is limited to two relationships,
She can only find two of Native men and white women. Go ahead.
she relies on one couple to stand for each phrase in racial thinking.
It would mean they weren't the only ones. Go ahead.
She urges scholars to look for more.
Watch this.
More recently, Catherine Ellinghaus.
Now, Catherine Ellinghaus wrote a book I have. She wrote, I had the PDF of the boarding schools where blacks and Native American men would interact with white girls in school and do it in secret. It's going to say it. Go ahead.
More recently, Catherine Ellinghaus has uncovered evidence of such couples.
The couples. Go ahead.
Focusing primarily on male students who attended the Eastern Off-Reservation boarding schools of Hampton, Virginia, and Carlisle
Institute,
Pennsylvania. She recognizes that the school's curricula encouraged the marriage
because the blacks and Negro men, Native American men were already being white, black and viento in their brains. They're being whitened in their minds. So they didn't see a problem with the blacks and whites in these schools messing with white girls as long as they had that white mindset. So you had instances where natives and black men were messing and marrying around with white women. That's why I mentioned earlier when they shipped those immigrants from Germany and Poland and all that to Brazil and in Cuba, you have natives, black men up in there laying with them women, with the daughters. You understand what I'm saying? If it happened here, it happened everywhere else. And these white folks did not go through our land being infertile, mingling all our women up with babies. No, that's not what happened. The Most High said, not a man amongst them. Go to, I ain't got much time. Go to Hosea 7:8.
The book of Hosea, chapter 7, verse 8. Ephraim, he had mixed himself among the people.
We did it during the Assyrians. We did it during Babylon, during the Greeks, Rome. We did it all over. In Spain, we did it. Spain, all of that. Go ahead.
Ephraim is a cake not turned.
Ephraim is a cake not turned. They're dark on one side and white on the other. They're speckled. That's all I want. That's all I want. It goes right back to Jeremiah 12:9. Go to real quick, Willie Lynch, page 8 and 9. That's good. Right there. I have outlined.
I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves.
Among the black folks. Go ahead.
And I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes.
Go down.
These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South.
Go down, Horn. Right there. Start from on top of my list.
On top of my list is age, but there is only because it starts with an A.
Uh-huh.
The second is color.
Color. I'm gonna divide them through color. Go ahead.
Or shade.
Because you have Israelites doing the same thing. If you're not a certain shade or color, you're not Israel. Same Willie Lynch mindset. Go ahead.
The second is color or shade.
Uh-huh.
There is intelligence, size, sex, size plantations, status on plantation.
They create taskmasters. Go ahead.
Attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley or on the hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair.
How the Negroes have what?
Have fine
The
hair.
slave has fine hair. Go ahead.
Coarse hair.
Or coarse hair. I'm going to divide them through these things. Make them hate each other. Cause divisions. That's why you have Israelites with the Willie Lynch syndrome. That's what this is. Go over. Go over to the next page. 9.
You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves.
That's what's happening now in Israel. It's Willie Lynch syndrome all over again. It's the same thing. Give me Jeremiah. No, I don't want that. Give me real quick Afro-German. I have time. I'm going to do it real fast. Give me Afro-German. Wikipedia. Afro-German. Now I'm going to take y'all further. I took y'all the Middle Ages. I'm going to go to World War II. World War II, you had Jakes that were shipped over, because Germans had slaves also. They tried to hide that. Go down. I want where it says the first. Go down. Go down. Go down. It's very short, so I'm going to go to it anyway. Right there, the first. The first Africans. Read that. 1600s to 1800s. Read that.
African and German interaction, 1600 to late 1800s.
Uh-huh.
The first Africans in Germany were brought as household servants.
Slaves.
Around the 17th century.
Uh-huh.
During the 1720s, Ghana-born Antoine Wilhelm Almo was sponsored by a German duke to become the first African to attend a European university. After completing his studies, he taught and wrote in philosophy. Later, Africans were brought as slaves from the western coast of Africa.
See that? Always from the West Coast. That's where the majority of Israel was. Go ahead.
Where a number of German estates were established.
Germans took over there too. Go ahead.
Primarily on the Gold Coast. After King Frederick Wilhelm I of Prussia sold his Ghana Fredericksburg estates in Africa in 1717, from which up to 30,000 people had been sold to the Dutch East India Company.
That's Columbus's connection. Go ahead.
The new owners were bound by contract to send, quote, 12 Negro boys, 6 of them decorated with golden chains.
Brought us his gifts. Decorated golden chains. Go ahead.
To the king. The enslaved children were brought to Potsdam and Berlin.
Jump down to the Afro-German sterilization. Go down. I'm going to find it. Interracial, stop. Go up. Interracial, right there. Couples.
Interracial couples in the colonies were subjected to strong pressure in a campaign against
miscegenation. Against mixing. Go ahead. Racial mixing.
Which included invalidation of marriages, declaring the mixed-race children illegitimate.
Bastards.
And stripping them of German citizenship.
Go down. Right there. Afro-Germans. Remember, they were brought to Berlin. Afro-Germans in Germany were socially isolated.
Afro-Germans in Germany were socially isolated and forbidden to have sexual relations and marriages with Aryans by the racial laws.
With German women. Go ahead.
In continued discrimination directed at the so-called Rhineland bastards.
That's us. Go ahead.
Nazi officials subjected some 500 Afro-German children in the Rhineland to forced sterilization.
That's eugenics program. Forced sterilization. That's eugenics program. Go ahead.
Blacks were considered enemies of the race-based state along with Jews and Gypsies.
And Romanians. Go ahead.
The Nazis originally sought to rid the German state of Jews and Romani by means of deportation and later extermination, while Afro-Germans were to be segregated and eventually exterminated through compulsory sterilization.
Eugenics. That's where Margaret Sanger got it from. Go down to since the end of World War II, right there. ended adulthood.
The end of World War II brought Allied occupation forces into Germany. United States, British, and French forces included numerous soldiers of African American,
Judah,
Afro-Caribbean,
Benjamin, and Levi,
or African descent.
West Coast. Go ahead.
And some of them fathered children with ethnic German women.
Uh-huh.
At the time, the armed forces generally had non-fraternization rules and discouraged interracial marriages. Most single ethnic German mothers kept their brown babies, but thousands were adopted by American
They
families
took the children from these couples. Go ahead.
and grew up in the United States. Often they did not learn their full ancestry until reaching adulthood.
So they were stolen from their parents and put in adoption agencies and adopted in the Americas. Go that right there until the end of the Cold War.
Until the end of the Cold War, the United States kept more than 100,000 U.S. soldiers stationed on German soil.
Uh-huh.
These men established their lives in Germany. They often brought families with them or founded new ones with ethnic German wives and children. The federal government of West Germany pursued a policy of isolating or removing from Germany those children that it described as, quote, mixed-race Negro children.
So you had children. We have children with Germans. Those children were different shades. They weren't dark. I think I'm not sure if she's one of them, but you get the point. Now, let's go to, real fast, go to Jeremiah 48:11.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 48, verse 11. Moab hath been at ease from his youth.
Moab had been at ease from his youth. Watch this.
And he had settled on his lees.
Lees means is what you leave in wine. Lees is when wine is left alone for a long, long time. It's aged and it has lees. It's a yeast, giving it a stronger taste. Go ahead.
And hath not been emptied from vessel to vessel.
And Moab has not been emptied so much as from vessel to vessel. Watch this.
Neither hath he gone into captivity.
Or have been emptied from vessel to vessel, meaning from captivity after captivity after captivity. Moab didn't go through that. Go ahead.
Therefore his taste remained in him.
Therefore Moab's taste still remains in him. Meaning you have the real ones. You have the Vietnamese, you have the Cambodians, you have the Mongolians, Mongolians. They had their taste in them. You have the Esau puts in the forefront the ones that were conquered, the white ones. But for the most part, they maintained their dark features. Moab. So he's saying Israel, read it again.
Therefore his taste remained in him.
His taste or flavor remained in him. Go ahead.
And his scent is not changed.
And his scent is not changed. So have we been emptied from vessel to vessel? So what does it say about us? That our taste is not the same. That we're gonna vary. Like you take orange juice and you have apple juice and you pour some of that orange juice into the apple juice, it's not gonna be fully apple juice, it's gonna be mixed around. You'll taste a bit of the apple juice, but it's still mingled with the orange. You understand what I'm saying? So Israel, likewise, it says, therefore his taste remained in him and his scent is not changed. Israel, our taste remains in us to an extent, because the Most High says, for the most part, Israel is a dark nation. But amongst us, you'll have mixtures. You understand? You'll have us looking diverse. Because we've been empty from vessel to vessel, captivity to captivity. So we're going to vary in features. You understand? That's why Christ said, judge not by appearance. All right, so give me Ecclesiastes 3:24. I'm going to end it on that. Ecclesiastes 3:24 and 25.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 24. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion.
So many are deceived in this truth, Israel, by their own vain opinion. When you say that all Israel has to be dark-skinned with woolly hair or coarse hair, you are deceived by a vain opinion. It's not supported by scripture whatsoever, or historically in any kind of way. Go ahead.
And an evil suspicion had overthrown their judgment.
Evil suspicion is to say that the Native Americans are from the Bering Strait, or people who are light-skinned or have fine hair are heathens. That's an evil suspicion. It's not biblical at all. Go ahead.
Without eyes thou shalt want light.
Without understanding, you shall lack understanding. Without eyes or spiritual eyes in this Bible, you will lack understanding. Go to 5:12, and that's it.
The book of Sirach, chapter 5 and verse 12. If thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor.
If you have understanding in the Bible, give an answer. Go ahead.
If not,
If you don't,
lay thy hand upon thy mouth.
shut up. Shut the hell up. You're not making no sense. Provide evidence that Israel remained dark till now. Show us. You can't. I just gave numerous examples that we're not the same. They're from real dark to real light. To damn. Dark to like pale, like wow, that's Jake. Some of y'all was like, wow, those are our parents? Yes, those are our parents. All right, so I'm going to end it on that.
Shalom. This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us, subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcasts, and stay up to date with us. For more information, please visit www.israelunite.org.